So it's going to be, Hockman's going to say,
to a north
I'm
wind.
hot,
Keep a north wind in place this weekend.
I'm late.
And you're going to say, I'm Joe.
Possible overnight and into tomorrow morning. Dry by tomorrow afternoon for Christmas afternoon.
So, about the restaurant.
Okay.
Season 52 is beautiful. It's a here. Table for 16 because we're inviting our neighbors. The kids, my kids go no dice. They have friends with COVID, all this stuff. We've all been tested. I got tested yesterday.
Give me those big things, will you?
What?
Closing
up nearly 200
Are we doing
points
a cross here?
yesterday. Current workers who have been out
So-
of jobs since
Yeah,
March
okay. Quiet, I got to do a tease.
To make them happy.
I got to do a tease.
Amazon has reached a settlement with the National Labor Relations Board to allow its workers to organize freely and without retaliation. The settlement outlines Amazon workers, which number 750,000 in the U.S., have more room to organize within its warehouses. I'm Dave Schwan, in for Steve Kucinich on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
Thanks, Shwani. And I'm David Hochberg, in for John Williams with Home Sweet Home Chicago. On today's show, Stephen A. Leahy, we're surrounded by attorneys. Stephen A. Leahy from Open Tax Resolution. David Schluter. You want to stop eating for a minute while I introduce the show? Can you wait like 30 seconds so I can get the intro out? Dave Schluter from the Schluter law firm. We got Igor, Mr. Floor, Megapros Joe, Megapros Home Improvement. All right, go back to eating, Stephen. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
If you're looking to purchase a new home, you need to call Team Hockman. Your trusted Dahlia 27 nurse.
What the hell? You can't wait.
Dahlia talked about
If I waited, you wouldn't have had such a great.
I think they thought I was the one eating.
over here. Is that cool? Help her daughter find answer first home. Team Hockman. We answer
I can't see it,
questions.
So,
I'll
Joe,
just follow here.
I went to DuPage County, got tested. My wife, we want to make sure we're all good. Not good enough. So we're having everybody at our home, and they feel more comfortable. Even I think that's more congested, but I'm having the other one tonight at 5:30. 16 people. Well, 6 of us and 10 people. They don't want to go into a restaurant. They're concerned about COVID. All my kids. Young kids. They're nervous. Because they're all on the computer all day.
We gotta get Igor, you gonna be there without a screen?
You want to move that one over?
Do we have another pop-up screen?
No, I can do it, I guess.
I can move over.
I'll move over. I thought he'd sit here and then he'd move
Oh,
over.
Igor doesn't want to be in between two attorneys. I don't blame him.
He'd never be safer.
Are you with Zany tonight or what? That's probably true.
That probably is.
You're bulletproof.
But only if they're both retained. Then I'm good.
That's right.
Otherwise, we got problems.
You're good for it.
You're good. They both extended you credit. 20 grand each retainer on credit. No problem.
You don't want to have
Doing 30 days.
It's what they call a classic retainer. I get paid whether I do any work or not.
Chance that they just don't leave my house and I'm sitting at the restaurant. I had to pull 2 managers in to get those tables like that. But I canceled right away yesterday and said, please free those up for other people. But they're obsessed with the possibility.
So that's right. You're about one destroy the whole.
This is 3 out of my 4.
Is it not working?
No. It would ruin the whole day. If I didn't, I had to roll.
I wouldn't hardly much Chicago. And then we'll be like, hey, Joe wants to try something. Hit it. Okay.
But I'm not gonna hit it. It's not gonna hit.
There's no music?
In
warm. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. What's the name of the song again? All right, so there's no music.
It's going to be Hockberg. You say, I'm Hockberg. I'm Leahy.
Hard Rock and Coco and Joe.
So Hockberg and Leahy
And Joe.
Okay.
I was on Ray Rayner all the time. Did you know
All right,
somebody?
here we go. So Igor 5, 6. So 1, 3, 4. I got 4 of them. Here we go.
This episode of Home Sweet Home Chicago is sponsored by David Hockberg and Megapros Home Improvement and Restoration. Attorney Stephen.
Good morning, Chicago. Welcome to Home Sweet Home Chicago radio show. I'm David Hochberg, your host. In studio with me today are Stephen A. Leahy, attorney Stephen A. Leahy, eating his sister-in-law's nuts on air. We have Dave Schluter from, your mic's off so you can't say anything. Dave Schluter, real estate attorney, trust planning expert. Igor Marak from Mr. Floor, Igor Marak. Megapros Joe, Megapros Home Improvement. And for everybody new to the show, we start every show with this. Elwood Buddy, how many miles to Chicago?
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes.
I control the mic.
And we're wearing sunglasses.
As you know.
That's their first mistake.
All right, so we've got the
You're now a radio professional.
semi. All right, they put the 30-second buffers in. So when you hear the 30, they put the 30-second buffers in. 312-9. There we go. 312-981-7200.
I told you that was their first mistake.
I know. Put me in charge. 312-981-7200. Joe, you would like to try an alternative ending to Hard Rock, Coco, and Joe. So here we go. We're going to do it without any music.
No music?
We can't get the music. I understand.
No.
We couldn't do it. Ready? So we'll do it. We'll do it.
Okay, good. No,
Okay.
no.
I know.
Go ahead,
You
Dave.
got that.
I watched Ray Rayner.
Go ahead, Dave. Knock it out.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh, the old lady, old lady, oh.
I'm Hochberg.
I'm Leahy.
I'm Joe.
Okay. Everybody.
And I was right on key, by the way.
You were.
It was that key I played on Ray
That's
Rayner.
good.
Everybody just went over to the mix there. 312-981-7200.
Why go to the mix? We did it right here.
Right. That's why. 312 we can't sing. You want to continue?
No.
Sister-in-law's nuts?
It's hard not to, as you know.
What are those? Praline, pecan?
Pecans, yeah. They're very good, yes.
And I am on the soda diet. I smelt the bag. I smelt inside the bag. I haven't had one of them.
I did bring it for you because I knew that you would need it, so I knew we could all eat them.
Because the bag would be gone. 312-981-7200. That's Megapro's call, text, and photo line. We're here until noon to help you with all of your real estate questions. 312-981-7200. In studio with me, we have Stephen A. Leahy. What are you talking about today, Stephen?
I'm going to talk about tax preparation and also business structure. So people who run their own business, I know we talked a lot about the business, the Build Back Better plan, but that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay. If our listeners want to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Go to ChicagoTaxTeam.com. Actually, I have WGNTaxman.com.
Oh, great job. Nice job.
Yeah, I am the WGN Taxman.
It all started with Joe's idea. So
Actually, it didn't start with that, but
Oh, no. I didn't get credit for that. You didn't give me credit before. Now, all of a sudden, you started giving me credit because I said, hey, Dave.
That's your idea.
Outstanding.
thank you.
Dave Schluter.
I'll give you half credit.
Dave Schluter from David Schluter Law Group there. Dave, what are you going to be talking about?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to those Oakland people, first of all.
Yeah.
They were there 7 hours after it went down, lockdown, and then 2 more of the roads were closed, 83 and 22nd. Somebody at WGN traffic team was tied up 7 hours there, by the way. They mentioned that this morning. I'm going to talk about something called a short sale flip, and I know that's going to have everybody on their toes, and I'll explain what that issue is, and it's good to be here, Dave.
312-981-7200, Megapro's call, text, and photo line. We love photos, pictures of your challenges. We usually get a ton of pictures of flooring because Mr. Floor, Igor Marak from Mr. Floor is in. We get a ton of pictures. We've had a lot of pictures of scratch floors, urine stained floors, gaps in the floors. It's gapping time, Igor. We talked about it with Rich Dykstra when he was on a couple of weeks back. The humidity levels. What are you going to be talking about on today's show, my friend?
Yeah, so today, Dave, we're going to be discussing the benefits and the significant differences between solid and engineered wood floors. And we actually have a couple of people here in studio that have experienced the major benefits of an engineered floor. David, we did a nice job for you. We did
Great job for me.
Project for you. So,
Yep.
So we're going to be talking about, as the weather gets colder, Dave, what happens with wood floors and why Rich Dykstra was so adamant about humidity conditions and how that impacts gapping of wood floors and why engineered floors fare better with the wild humidity and temperature swings that we go through here in Chicago.
Because your wood floor absorbs moisture and in the winter when there's less moisture in the air, it contracts. We'll be talking about more of that.
Absolutely.
Phone number and website if our listeners want to reach out to you.
Our direct phone number is 847-674-7500, or you can visit us online at MrFloor.com.
Megapros Joe, Megapros Home Improvement. How are you, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so glad you're here.
I know. Me too.
You were supposed to be on your winter sabbatical, but that trip got postponed by a couple of days, and you were able to come in and join us on this.
But are you
day.
happy?
I am extremely happy. Okay, so we're on a different clock on our show, so now we have to go to a break.
What do you mean?
Just,
How did I get so many breaks?
just go with the flow. Joe.
Sponsors.
I love being on air at WGN, so let's not rock the boat. We're going to a break. We're going to come back, and we're going to start the show. That's what we do.
So I like most about you, Joe.
See that left lane, and you see that left bumper and the right bumper? I'm right in the middle.
You've been good at that for a year.
Yes, except 815 who's turning off the radio now. 312-981-7200. 312. Thanks for listening for 30 seconds. 312-981-7200. It's a MegaPros call, text, and photo line. We're going to come back with some Stephen A. Leahy after these messages. Oh.
What do you mean, though? They're putting, I don't understand. They're putting more stuff in.
No. John Williams' clock,
He has a different.
he has a different break clock. Our break clock was top, quarter, bottom, quarter, top. Right? So, you know, we've got 15-minute runs. Here we've got 12-minute runs.
He gets more money for advertisers. That's why. So they get if it's every
A long
12.
time ago, I heard that they can only do 18 minutes.
That's
Yeah.
forget Ashley. That's right. You're a Monday through Friday now.
It's
Good. that's what I mean.
They do 18.
That's why you're here.
But here, when I hosted the morning show,
How'd that go?
it was great.
I didn't listen.
You don't
The
listen.
singing was very good. No, I
That's too early for me, David.
I had a
Christmas
blast.
carols.
But I set it up thinking I'd be able to talk to the guests. Everything. There's a live read coming out of every break. In the middle of the break, there's a live read.
So it's over.
For them, it's most likely over. Oh, no, definitely. Well, then, 18 minutes of commercial, but then they got traffic weather. I mean, you only get like 32 minutes of content during the regular show.
So
But we don't have any live reads.
that was their claim to fame. That, oh, we keep it below 18. It seems like that.
Well, 18, so 18, you got 42. Right? So 42, then you got top and the bottom, you got 5 minutes, you got 4 minutes for traffic. So there's 18, you know, you're down to 42 minus 8 is 36.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought it was 18 for commercial spots.
Yeah, well, right. But I'm just talking actual content, about a half hour.
But we meaning you have a better deal than we definitely on our Saturdays is obviously spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday. That's why they don't have that
Right.
The
Right.
number
We
of
got
tops.
so when I came
We're
home
in
from
silence.
LS, I'm like,
Yeah, I get it. It
I-
actually should be opposite if you ask me.
this is a programming clock. They consider it a program. I've
You said
got
clock or clock?
yes.
Okay.
Steve, what's the difference?
Alec Baldwin would say no.
An L.
Oh.
Did you guys hear Baldwin says he didn't fire the trigger? It just went off in his hand.
I
There we
did.
go. No, I got soda right now. We got a minute.
Sometimes they have that. My
1 minute.
Hi, it's David Hockman, host of Home Sweet Home Chicago. I began my weight loss journey with soda weight
Oh,
loss.
fucking Hockford everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I hear their voice in my sleep now.
Look better.
She turned the radio off.
If you're sick and tired of that unhealthy weight, want to make a change, check out
Are you the only sponsor there for, or the only spokesman, I should say, for?
The only successful
I
sponsor.
never heard of it.
So I've never heard of it until you started.
Exactly. Either of that.
There we go.
Like, how about this one? From soda clients to bring
You got a rejoin or we just coming in?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, just come in for time's sake. How about that?
Program and food was easy to use.
Get my
and
time.
Yeah, I
I
could
didn't
do that.
feel hungry. The staff were so friendly and
There we go.
their knowledge and nutrition taught me so
Steve,
much
you're
about
up.
food and its nutritional value. Thank you for encouraging me through my weight loss journey. Good for you,
Alright,
Sabrina.
10 seconds.
Easy, fun, and very convenient. Visit Soda Weight.
312-981-7200. MegaPros Joe is the sponsor of the phone, text, and photo line. We're going to go right over to Stephen A. Leahy. Thank you for stop eating your sister's praline pecan nuts that smell delicious.
Does she have a business or something?
She just started, she's been making these for years, and everybody tells her, you got to sell these. These things are just too good. She just started. That's why she's Julie's Nuts.
That's the name of her company?
Yes.
Julie's Nuts.
Julie's
Oh,
Nuts.
that's not-
And she is.
She's your sister-in-law. And you can say that without.
You think that's the first time I've ever said that?
312-917-200. What are we talking about today, buddy?
Well, there's been a lot of talk on the radio about the size of the IRS and that they're growing, and everybody's kind of frightened about it. But here's the thing: in the last year, they've increased audits against small businesses by 50%. So they're still going up, whether they're going to fund the IRS by double or raise the number of employees by double. Right now, the IRS has 83,000 employees. That bill, the Build Back Better bill, proposes to put 87,000 more on. So, and that could still pass. So would that be good for me? I think it'd be really good for me. But
well, because more of our listeners would be audited.
Well, yeah, everybody would be audited. That's almost a one for everybody.
What are you saying? You're in favor. What are you saying?
No, I said I should be in favor of it, but I don't want the IRS because I've seen the problems that it causes people. But here's I generally help people who've already faced IRS problems, and then we help them structure their business correctly and try to avoid audits in the future and reduce their tax bill. Well, you don't have to wait till you have tax problems to do that, right? If you have your own business and you're running and you're doing a sole proprietor or something like that, you should probably stop and think. And most people think, well, I'm too small to worry about that stuff. It's, if I structure my business correctly, it won't make a difference. And that's just not true.
So many startup business guys get bad,
yeah,
including paying themselves.
What do you mean by that?
So in other words, so many small businesses I'm not going to write myself a
okay, this is exactly what you're right, Joe. And that's what people do wrong in that they intermingle their life with their business. And you have to treat your business as a business. And that's why I'm all for a subchapter S, either a corporation or an LLC. Why? Get your business expenses off of your personal tax return. This causes nothing but trouble because the IRS, this is what, if you go to a bad, these tax preparers who cheat, and many of them do, and a lot of times the taxpayer doesn't even know that they're lying on their tax return because they say, well, this guy's just great. He gets me such a big refund. He's just great. And he tells all of his friends and family and everybody goes to him. And then they all find out, did you start a business? No, I didn't start a business. Well, it says here on Schedule C that you have a business and that you have all these expenses.
And your signature is on the bottom of page 1 or 2.
Exactly.
Right? So you're basically stating, yes, everything
under
here.
Penalty of perjury.
Right.
Yeah. And people say, well, I don't know anything about taxes. And most people don't, but you still sign it under penalty of perjury. So I've had a lot of people and they say, well, and the IRS calls,
we all get them, and they're panicking. And
Yeah.
that ship is already not only
Yep.
in the river, it's in the harbor, ocean. It's halfway to England. It's done. It's all paper trail.
So I've had people that the IRS calls them and says, what about this business? And they say, I don't own a business. Right. Where's your office? I don't have an office. But on Schedule C, they have all these deductions. Okay. But so this is where, but the IRS knows this, right? So this puts red flags up when these expenses are on your personal tax return. If I start my own business, if I start a corporation and I do a subchapter S or even a corporation, it's on a separate tax return. So if I have expenses, they're not on my personal tax return. They don't have the red flags. I'm not going to get audited. I'm not that I won't get audited because you could get a random audit, but you're not going to put the red flags out there to say, hey, audit me, look at my stuff, see if it's real. And so that's the first thing you want to do, right? Is get these tax expenses, all your business expenses off your personal tax return.
I like what you say, though, structure your business, right?
Exactly.
Structure it as a business.
Mm-hmm. Have a separate bank account, right? And it seems like such a rudimentary thing, but so many people don't do that. And even if they have a separate bank account, they pay their mortgage from their business bank account, or they pay their kids' school or from their business bank account.
So your sister-in-law, Julie's nuts,
Mm-hmm.
right? She started the company. That's the name of the company. I know you're laughing like a 13-year-old kid.
Is she listening right now?
I hope so.
Probably not.
Are you kidding me?
Steve Leahy's on. I'm not listening. So is this what you recommended to your sister-in-law?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And again, start a business and act like it's a business. Don't treat it like it's just income, because there's a difference. And here's the thing. If it's a hobby, it might not be deductible, right? Because you can't deduct all your expenses if it's deemed a hobby. And the IRS always wants to deem every business a hobby, because then you can't take losses and things like that.
So she has expenses, right? She has the product,
Mhm.
you know, the
The bags.
the coating, the bags, the printing. And if she
Legal
has to-
fees.
Legal fees.
I'm kidding.
Number one, she has legal fees. Then she's got to buy her product.
Tax preparation fees.
Different types of nuts that you put the coating on.
Yeah.
Right? She got to buy the sugar and whatever else.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. And then you've got expenses of baking all of the product, and then packaging it. And
Marketing.
And marketing. For listeners who want more information, reach out to you. How do they reach out to you?
WGNtaxman.com, or give me a call, 312-664-6649.
Later in the show, I want to talk to you about a listener that I called you about that's listening right now, who inherited a house from his mom and is having challenges right now at $160,000 with credit card debt. Yes, $160,000 with credit card debt that I want to talk to you about later on in the show. You are listening to Home Sweet Home Chicago. Coming up next, Dave Schluter with his sage advice on whatever Dave Schluter wants to talk about.
You can hardly wait.
I can hardly wait. 312-981-7200. Vicky Kukuzian is going to be giving her last traffic report of the day. Kukuzian!
That means you get to go home.
She's probably... If you bought a vowel when you're playing like Kukuzian, no. If you spend $250 on a vowel, you can't go wrong. I mean, she's got them all covered. Maybe a Y.
We love Vicky.
Vicky's awesome. Vicky, you're the best. Have a great day. Merry Christmas. 312-981-7200. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago. That's American Post call, text, and phone line. And we're going to throw it to the news team right now.
Could you guys believe how clear that was?
Yeah,
Her microphone?
Yeah.
But it's one of the so
Quiet. He's got to set the level.
Yeah, he's got no sound.
Which monitor?
Here's a picture.
Oh.
I just installed. Can I seal it?
Okay, turn it back on.
No sound on Facebook feed.
I think I fixed it.
Hey Grace, can you hit back 927-708 and see if they can hear it now, please?
Oh, this is on our Facebook feed. But what I'm gonna do is check it out.
Well, we can talk about it.
Yeah, but you want to.
Hey, what are you talking about? Former client, rumor that buyer short foot. Sorry. We got a new server. We got wax. So I don't have anybody's email addresses. I have to I think I was sending you some. I have to type in like almost the entire email.
Does it auto-populate?
Not yet. So it's like, what the hell is this? Right?
This is at home side?
Yeah. We were down for 10 days.
Was it a virus?
Something. Somebody tried to get in that back door and completely.
Your database, and now does it have any of the old PST files, the old email addresses, or did they take those? They're called PST files. But I'm saying you have to remember everybody you ever sent. I mean, it's not remembering
it's
anything.
there. You just have like before I could search Eagle.
Oh,
right?
sure.
And boom.
Right.
Now it's got to build that history.
That's what I'm saying.
Your
history's gone.
No,
Yeah.
the history's there.
But
Just when I search it,
Yeah.
it hasn't synced up yet. So they're like,
It doesn't know.
It didn't get eliminated because one that kills everybody. One used to be you bring your phone into AT&T and they get you a new phone and they go, "Oh, you wanted your contacts moved?"
Yeah, sorry.
Really? And I asked the girl, "Whoever says they don't want to move, nobody. Well, then why are you asking?" I mean,
Because we don't do it automatically.
Right,
That's why.
yeah, 'cause
we don't want to do that.
You don't want. I had an old
But now
BlackBerry. Remember BlackBerry? She
yeah.
goes, "Would you like to move to the new one?" And my little ball fell into the screen.
Oh,
And I dove over the counter. I'm like, "Yes."
You have to open that little ball, pull the ball out,
Really?
clean it,
Really?
throw the little ball back in, and leave it alone.
Mine went all the way in.
It's like any mouse. Like any mouse
Mine
used
was
to work.
We got nuts and
They don't work like that
You know
anymore.
exactly right. Remember those old
Yeah.
mice that
Oh, man.
roll around?
You have to came out because
Because it would get seized up.
yes.
Mine went to China.
China.
Another one. Stephen Lane. It's China virus.
That's in honor of the Donald, obviously.
Yes, you sounded just like him. That was
Hey,
good.
can you look up that person from who hates us and turning you off? I'm turning off.
You mean there's only one person?
9/11. See what their history is. Joe can call up the history to see how miserable the person.
Somebody sent a text saying that they're turning off the radio.
Well, they might be a Williams listener. They might be.
They probably
listener.
are.
No.
It's his show.
My last comment, Dave. Is it just cynical me, or does anyone else think Senator Manchin might be positioning himself for president?
What the hell?
Not in the Democratic Party. And he doesn't stand a chance at the Republican Party. So.
He's a pariah.
Yeah. No. Remember John McCain, or here's another Cheney. She's the greatest girl. She's so brave and courageous because she's bucking her party. He's like, what a traitor, what a low loser, It's like John McCain. Well, he's a maverick. He goes against his party. Manchin, what a loser. He's a traitor. It's
all about the label.
It's all about the perspective. Like who's doing the talking?
Yeah. Well, we know who does the talking. The propaganda just never stops. It's like listening to local Chicago television news talk about this new mandate. Oh, it's just everybody loves it. Everybody they went around to all these restaurants and every restaurant. Oh, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. What a great thing this mandate is. It's like, how do you find two people to say
we're
that?
shutting everything down here.
And then that's all you put on. So you're giving us the impression that everybody thinks it's a great thing.
That's what it is. It's propaganda.
It's propaganda.
It's horrible. And they're all guilty.
It's always propaganda. Here's the thing.
The governor of New York City, or the governor of New York State, yesterday, did you hear what she was talking about? So she comes out and she says what a fantastic idea it would be for 2-year-olds.
Do I have a tease here? Or just a
2-year-olds to wear masks full time.
Always. For the rest of their life.
They'll end up mentally ill.
For the rest of their life.
Yeah.
They'll be mentally ill, though.
Yeah, she says it's not a big deal. For a little 2-year-old?
No, they're going to be mentally
For
ill.
anybody, it's a big deal. But for a 2-year-old, for a 5-year-old, I've seen them. They have these songs. Put your mask on. But for 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds, it's like, what is this?
No, they're going to be messed up because a lot of the facial stuff and everything is scattered when you're young and how to react. And the other one was Dorothy yesterday. Lori Lefty says, "We're going to make them feel this one." She said that was scary.
Well, she said,
it's
going to be. It's inconvenient.
I want them to feel this one.
It's inconvenient by design. You're not going to be able to do the things you like to do.
To feel what is the end?
She's the dictator. We don't have. We are not a rule of. She's decided it's good for everybody.
Yeah. It's true, Lori.
Yeah, and Pritzker. Again, we don't have a rule of law. 47 states are operating under emergency orders.
Right.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that. So he went from the Cardinal to this shit.
It's the same thing.
Indiana, no mask.
I was in Tennessee 2 weeks ago. I got sworn. I got sworn in. I got sworn in at the district court down in Tennessee. This is what I already have. It's called Freedom, and I was on Broadway. If you ever been to Nashville,
so listen, after the news,
Broadway,
we
not
got a
mask.
quick hit, and then we're coming right in.
It's what we call freedom. Nobody thinks about it. Nobody.
I think everybody wants to be safe.
Why did you get the one
Igor, everybody wants to feel safe because the mask doesn't make you safe. It just doesn't. If it did, we wouldn't have had this new variant, and our numbers wouldn't be higher than they've ever been because we started wearing the mask in September.
There's a book out. It's called The Hollywood Godfather. It's by Gianni Russo.
The name sound.
You would love it. It's like
I got it. I'll give it to you.
How they controlled everything. Okay.
What is it called?
Hollywood
Godfather.
So anyway,
Gianni Russo.
Wait, so my son was accepted to Belmont University, and he got a free ride in law school. So I thought he was going to go there. And so when he got accepted and we thought he's going there, I figured I should get my license down there to help him down there. And then he didn't go there. But I had already paid and already started the process. So I just got the. So I just got the.
What's the question, Dave?
I listened to that.
Dave, we're going with your question instead of mine.
Yeah, because it's about Trump.
I got the audio.
And then we'll hold yours for later.
I'm not worried.
Narrating it?
And I'm gonna,
There we go.
okay, so I can get business down there as a IRS person, you know.
Here we go.
Both my kids. It's everybody says the kids are smart. No, they know how to work the system, and they did. So both of them got free rides. Both of them
Here we
finished
go.
U of I in 2 years.
Here we go. 312-981-7200, Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720 WGN. We're usually on Saturdays from 10 to 1, but today obviously we're on until noon, and next Friday as well we're on until noon. We got John Hanson coming up next after our show. So David Schluter from the Schluter Law, is it the Schluter Law Firm?
The Secretary of State would say the law offices of David R. Schluter Limited.
Okay.
Just say Dave's
What do you
office. Dave's office.
Dave's office.
My great team.
We have enough. We don't need any.
It is a great team.
It is a great team.
How can you shut down?
We got. No, you're on. You're on. Just don't touch anything.
My headphones.
The headphones are on. You just lost your hearing. 312-981-7200.
It's about business structure.
312-981-7200. Exactly. 773 Dave just sent in a text. I know you want to talk about short sales.
Yeah,
but
all right.
I think this is a little more pertinent here. Merry Christmas. I am a disabled adult. My living parent has set up a trust for me. Okay, got it so far?
Yep. Special needs trust.
Special needs trust. It's for the house we live in and for me financially. Okay, got it? It's my uncle. In the future, will my trust be able to help me sell the house if we decide it would be better to move? Thank you, Bill.
Well, number one,
So hold on, set this up.
Yeah, I got it. No, I got it.
No, for our listeners.
Yeah.
So we have a disabled adult who has a trust that his uncle runs.
Right.
Okay, so that's the setup. So take it from there.
Right. So first of all, the trust agreement is established on those things, and they're pretty usually non-modifiable. You could have your three kids, their side of the trust be completely flexible, but on those special needs one, because it does give protection from later relatives who might try to undo it, they're hard to modify. So it's all going to stand or fall with the agreement, and it's going to be in the trustee powers section. The disabled person is seen as somebody who needs protection. It's not an insult, it's just true, because people will screw someone and say, well, they'll never know, or, you know, we have more needs than they do, they're not special. So the bottom line is it's governed by the agreement, but it's going to be under the powers of the trustee of whether things like selling the house and getting a different one are part of that. Some parents are very strict and say, no, it's only going to be 4820 Kedzie, period. So it's all governed by the agreement. I'll be happy to review it for them.
Okay. In the future, it says in the text, will my trust be able to help me sell the home if we decide it would be better to move? So
again, it's going to be how the parents set it up, how much flexibility there is. My guess is it'll say whatever's in the best interest of the disabled person, which if the new place they're going to is better for their needs and it's a high profit at this point where they live now, I would think it would be approved, but you'd have to check the agreement.
And let's just assume that the uncle is older.
Right.
Okay, it would be odds-on favorite that the uncle is probably a little older than this disabled adult.
Right.
What happens, because death is what percent?
100%, I Googled it, yeah.
100%. 100%. That's how Roy Spencer would say it. How would Roy say it? 100%.
Is that mostly dead or?
No, 100%.
Yes.
Okay.
So I know where you're headed.
Okay, so let's say the adult nephew's still alive. The uncle set up, the older uncle set up the trust. The uncle passes away. What happens now?
That agreement will have a successor. If a lawyer wasn't drinking, it'll have a successor named. It could be a bank. It could be another relative. But it does not put the disabled person as their own trustee.
So within the trust, all of this is laid out.
Yeah. My guess it might be a bank. If it was a small family, it might punt to a bank that has a trust department with savvy people who protect people for a
All right.
living.
So how does that work? All right. We've got our listener here who's a disabled adult, according to the text here. Right. That's exactly how they classify themselves. They want to move into a more suitable home, bigger, smaller, short, whatever it is. They have to go to the bank and say, hey, I want to move. And what if the bank says no?
Well, that could be, but I would guess if they had a case, they're not going to have a personal stake in it to make it personal. Again, it's going to be whether it's a good time to sell financially. Who knows what other cash is out there? And then the other thing is the other one a good buy as well? But I can't imagine them having a vendetta if the person has 2 or 3 good reasons. They have better things to do.
Is there a governing body that they could go to, a third party, if the trustee doesn't agree for this? I'm just trying to cover all the
it's
bases.
unbelievable. It's a great question. You just teed it up perfectly, as my wife would say. Yes, there is a whole court at the Daly Center, if it's in Cook County, of people who believe their trustee is mistreating them.
All right.
It's a court set up just for beneficiaries who feel they're not getting their wishes met.
312-981-7200, 312-981-7200. Here's another text for you, Dave Schroeder. Our texters, our listeners are texting like crazy there on the Mega Plus call, text, and photo line. Great question from 708. Can a mortgage go into default if the property taxes do not get paid?
It's in the mortgage itself. Mortgages I did a purchase yesterday. The mortgage was 18 pages long, single space, and there are a number of ways you could be in default. The number one is not paying the payment. But if you are paying it, but the taxes are on you and you don't have an escrow account, you miss that payment, yes, they can foreclose. They'll treat it just like you're not making your payment. I'm surprised they don't have an escrow, but some of them have waiver of escrow. So, yes, ignoring insurance also. Letting the insurance lapse, you're on your way to foreclosure.
Especially on a reverse mortgage, because on reverse mortgages, the owner of the home can defer the mortgage payment, right? They do not have to make the mortgage
The principal and interest, right?
but they have to make the taxes and insurance.
Right.
And if you don't make that tax payment, they could then foreclose.
It's common sense because it eventually, if you let those taxes go long enough, a third-party investor can buy it. Yeah.
I just want to just interject here that sometimes they'll do what they call forced insurance, and that if you don't have your insurance, they'll do forced insurance, and that insurance
You don't want that.
you don't want that insurance.
That's typically 5 to 20 times more than what you
Exactly.
could get.
Exactly. So they might not foreclose, but your mortgage will go way up.
Yeah. That's why it starts with an F.
Free.
Forced.
Well, you are another word if you let that one go. Let
Really
alone if
forced.
there's a fire and you don't have any insurance. But they will find that immediately.
Fortified.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other reference.
They're protecting. They have
Exactly.
more money in the house than the homeowner, so they're
Exactly.
just protecting their investment. It's not an unreasonable requirement.
Exactly.
And there's no the servicer, right, investor, has a right to protect their investment, even though you own the house and you're living in the house. But if you don't have insurance against fire, flood, hail, tornado, whatever, they can force you to do it to protect their investment.
I've done about 15,000 purchases in my 36 years, and in every closing I say, don't mess with the insurance. If you get a better deal, it's fine, but don't have it end in April and start in June, because guess what? We have microburst, and you say Woodridge, right? I mean, if it goes down, if the house disappears, the dirt can't pay the mortgage.
No, what Dave's talking, it's not a laughing matter.
No, 75th and 355.
That storm that came through out of nowhere and just blew. a
Can you
couple
say
houses.
Tennessee? Can you say Southern Illinois? I mean,
Right.
it's
not a laughing matter.
No, but if any of those people were messing with their insurance, then they are going bankrupt.
Meaning not paid.
Yeah,
Right.
well, moving it around, but saying I'm gonna skip a couple weeks, save a few bucks, So you're playing with dynamite, and just ask anybody who's had a quick storm and it came unexpected. It could happen to you.
If our listeners want to reach out to the law offices of David Schluter, how they do?
Yeah, 630-285-5300 or just davidschluterlawoffice.com. It's on the website.
Rich Dykstra texted in. This is Rich Dykstra, in case we didn't know. As if I don't know that number, right? It's like he texts every show. Merry Christmas to everyone there and to all of our listeners.
He's wonderful.
He's a good dude. And his whole company is outstanding. Igor Marak, we're going to be talking
Another
about.
good guy.
Another Igor Marak?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With a unique name.
Yes. Well, we're going to be talking about his father's birthday. That was yesterday. We got to wish the old man.
I wonder why we would do that.
What?
I said I wonder why we would talk about birthdays.
Oh, mine's tomorrow.
That's what it is.
They sing
I did
Away
not
in a
know
Manger.
that.
Did you know they sing "Away in a Manger" at David's birthday parties?
No way.
I don't know what any of that means.
He doesn't have
312-9817, and I don't know what tinsel is, and we'll tell that story as well. 312-981-7200 is a MegaPro's call, text, and photo line. We've got Igor Marak from Mr. Floor coming up with all of your flooring questions and flooring needs. If you've got any questions, give us a call, 312-981-7200. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago, AM 720 WGN. Did we fix the feedback yet? Are we still? All right, so this is a 3-minute break, Igor, and then we're back.
Okay.
Let's talk about your father, how he came to this country with nothing, started the I think it's a great story. Segue into.
I like to talk to Igor about the
How to
tech.
properly wear glasses on your head?
No. You got to wear them like that because otherwise say this.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then I can't take them off. Because that's why I have to wear them that way. Anyway, I like to talk to Igor about the technicalities of different wood
Why don't you get the question
types.
now in the next
No,
few
yeah.
minutes so we
I
can
know what he's asking.
You know what?
You want to talk about the coefficients of expansion and contraction.
Exactly.
Of the maple wood floor.
Exactly. And how the different species of wood react differently.
Well, let's go. You want to go in the weeds? Let's go in the weeds.
Because you have maple.
I just love to talk to
You've got a
him.
friend
He's the
that's got
smartest floor guy in the world.
Do you have maple in your house?
Oh, yeah.
I have oak.
It's called the coefficient of change.
Sure.
So you have oak.
Oak floors, yes. I put them in myself.
Why do you want to know about maple?
I didn't want to know. I didn't mention maple. You did. No, you mentioned maple. I didn't mention maple. No, he said the coefficient. Because again, he's the smartest floor guy in the world. He knows about all this stuff. I love it. 3-syllable, 4-syllable words. Love it.
It's like indemnify. It's like Dave with the indemnification. So, Dave, are those two good? We'll get back to the short tail.
See, look, he's talking about that, and look at how mesmerized Joe is.
So I guess
Schluter. Dave.
I would think it would be the opposite.
With that, I'll get back to the short sale. But I figured those were.
I would think so too.
No, I loved it. And luckily I knew the
But that's why he's Mr. Floor. He knows these things.
But I think that question about the trust.
All of your subfloor. Perfect.
Yeah, impacts a lot of our listeners.
WGN, sure, yeah.
A lot of that is because it's just much more dimensionally stable. The coefficient of change is much less on those pieces.
All right, let Steve try to answer that fall on his fucking face. And then
I'm not the floor guy. I don't know anything about the species of wood.
The problem is pine wouldn't hold up to the traffic, right?
Right.
Okay. So that's not why it's used, right? So it's not used
looks
for
great on walls. Ceiling. I've seen on walls and ceilings. Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. So it was never used as the finishing wood. In other words, it was never the wood that
30
was
seconds.
exposed. But for everything else, yeah.
All right, good.
The guy knows.
We have something to talk about.
Well, when we only have to fill a half an hour in an hour, I think we can all. I can fill the half hour all by myself.
Well, you do every week at WIB.
And we all know David could do it forever. He could talk.
Driving off the road. That's what it works. I think Texas is coming in hot.
And I think this stuff is.
312-981-7200 is a MegaPro's call, text, and photo line. 312-981-7200. A lot of our listeners have heard Mr. Floor. You've been on this. You've been with us on the show for over 5 years. You've been with us from day one at WGN. You've educated, and you were on other stations with my friend Ron Cowgill and his show down the dial or up the dial. And that's where I got to know you. You've done work in my home. You've done work in Dave's home, in a lot of our listeners' homes. And it's your father's birthday. I saw a post. He's a Capricorn, which means he's a solid individual. Now that's David Schluter eating. That's not Stephen A. Leahy. Go ahead, open it. Open it. It's fine.
It's Julie's nuts.
It's Julie's nuts. Go ahead, open it, Dave. Enjoy.
It's his embarrassed face. Look at it.
I know he's gonna be like.
I don't think he's embarrassed.
312-981. He's like, I can't believe it. I can't have a couple of candy.
I wouldn't have stopped.
312-981-7200. Your pop came over.
Yeah.
Immigrated to this country. Yeah. With nothing. Tell the story.
Yeah.
And God bless him. Happy birthday. How old is he?
Yeah, Pops turned 74 yesterday.
God bless him. Tell the story.
Yeah, it's really it's the typical, Dave. It's the typical immigrant coming to America with nothing type story. So my family came here in the late 70s, and Pops, couldn't speak English. Came here with a couple of suitcases. We lived like 10 of us in a room because my aunt came here a little bit before us. I slept on the floor. We didn't have a bed. I mean, it was that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And through hard work and perseverance, and being in the greatest country on the planet, our country here, he was able to rise and work a bunch of different jobs and multiple jobs and all of that, and opened Mr. Floor. And,
what year?
He opened in 1987.
1987. You're wearing a 30-year anniversary shirt.
Yeah, so we're about to be 35. So this is an older shirt.
You look fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
I think we'd all look good in 35-year
35 is good, yeah.
sweatshirts. Don't let you large and wide shoulders. But go ahead.
Yeah, but you've lost, 47 pounds now. So
I know, but I still have wide shoulders. I work out, Steve.
I'm not going to say it. Turn around. I think I found it.
Steve will be ordering an Uber. So we
I'll
start.
take it home.
Trust me, you'll drop him off in Ohio. You won't get. You'll drop him off at that stoplight right before the ramp.
Orleans, Ohio.
My mom lives right there, so I'll be okay.
Fine. Okay, I'm telling you, you'll be falling asleep. By the time you hit Portillo's, you'll be like driving into Portillo's drive-through through the front door. All right, so let's. 35 years. God bless him.
Yeah.
Started the company.
Yeah, started with nothing. Basically, just my dad and a couple of guys, and a willingness to work and provide fantastic customer service, and just take good care of his clients. And then I joined the company in the early '90s. Had really no intention. I was actually on my way to law school.
Thank God you didn't do that.
That's why he's such a great floor guy.
Another attorney.
Yeah,
No, because because he looks at the floor like I would look at a case. He understands the whole 9 yards. He doesn't just put in a floor. He understands it, and that's what you were just talking to him about, the coefficient and all this, because that's what he does.
All right, so you started in the '90s.
Yeah, so I joined in the early '90s, and we've grown over the years. And again, it's just a commitment to excellence and a commitment to education and a commitment to client and customer service and knowledge and all of the things. And and here we are, all these years later.
How many employees do you have now?
So we've got close to 30, and we're considered one of the larger non-union wood flooring companies in the Chicagoland area.
Okay.
We service the entire Chicagoland market, and what we specialize in is wood floors, and that's what we're known for.
Steve has a question for you that he practiced during the break because he couldn't get it out during the break. Steve, you want to ask? Your mic is still on. I didn't turn it on. You want to ask? I'm not going to do that to you. You want to ask a question with a dead mic? You want to ask about the coefficiency of the floor?
No, because Igor that's why he's so good at what he does, because it's not just putting in floors. He understands what species and why they're there and how it works, and he can explain all this to people in language that we can all understand. That's what makes him so good. I mean,
but you had a question with different species act differently with humidity.
That was the question, and he has the answer.
Right. So go ahead, Igor.
Yeah,
I was going to give you a chance to ask it, but for love of God.
So off air, we got into a little bit of the weeds in terms of species and how certain species behave. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today, Dave, was the differences between solid and engineered floors, which actually speaks to really the dimensional stability conversation, right? And why do we care about dimensional stability? Well, we care about dimensional stability because in Chicago, when we have these massive swings of temperature and humidity, we need to be able to make sure that our wood is as consistent as possible year-round. Consistent, I mean size-wise. So, we all experience gaps in the wintertime, and that's due to the fact that humidity conditions come down, the heat is pumping. Rich Dexter talks about it all the time. I talk about it all the time, how important it is to make sure that we have relative humidity as high as we can get it. Above 30% really is where we want to see it in the home. And if we start to go lower than 30%, wood has a tendency to contract, and you develop gaps. So this thing that we refer to as coefficient of change, which is a technical term that we use in our industry to quantify and to sort of figure out which species will change and which species will move more than others, is something that really in Chicago is critical And not only is the species important, but also the format.
I have a floor emergency texted to us, so hang tight with that. We'll pick it up on the other side. I cleaned furniture with Pledge last night. The spray got all over my hardwood floor. The floor is now dangerously slippery. How do I fix it? 12 people, including 89-year-old dad tomorrow. Help, help, help.
Go with the vinegar and water.
That'll
cut the slippery right out of anything.
Igor just like almost.
I know.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Igor. How do you get rid of that?
You know, we actually get that a lot. You know, the overspray from the Pledge. You know, you're supposed to spray the rag and then wipe the furniture. A lot of people do it in reverse. They'll spray the furniture, the overspray goes everywhere onto the floor. It's tricky because you don't want to damage the floor by trying to remove that Pledge. But, you know, actually in this case, I would agree with Joe. In this case only, Dave, in this case only, a little bit of vinegar, and I'm talking like a capful to, you know, maybe a bucket of water, but then wring out that mop or
so
that cloth.
The important thing is what you're using is not saturated. You don't want to.
Lightly damp.
Correct. And that's why we always recommend the use of our Mr. Floor cleaning products,
which is great
because they come out of a spray bottle. Right? You're not going to flood anything out of a spray bottle. The chemicals are measured. They're all non-toxic. They will eventually cut through, but in an emergency case like hers or his, you know, whoever the texture is, a little bit of vinegar will actually cut through it quickly. But you don't want to use vinegar for an extended period of time because it will actually hurt the polyurethane coating.
It's an emergency case. Right. This will help the slip challenge that they have for the 12 people, including the 89-year-old.
So if you get that lemon Pledge on your floor, it is dangerous.
Oh, it's an ice skating rink.
Absolutely. Yeah. So maybe you should make a vinegar and water.
For emergency use only. Like, break glass in case of emergency.
Just like a spray bottle with the right mixture of vinegar.
And we have a lot of new listeners because we're on Friday now, right? In case you didn't know, this is Friday. And so let's talk about that coming back out of the break, why vinegar and water is not good for your floor. Because Joe's Polish grandmother taught him, right?
Yes.
God bless her. That was the way that your grandmother...
You can wash windows with that.
Right. So that was your family's recipe.
And newspaper, they would use newspaper instead of paper pack.
Correct. All right, you're listening to Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720 WGN. The MegaPros call, text, and photo line is open. 312, same number, 312-981-7200, 312-981-7200. We're going to take a quick break and throw it right back to Igor after these messages.
That blue cleaner, though.
That's what I say. If your floor guy can't talk like that, you need a new floor guy.
But thank you.
You know, the dimensional stability. That's what I love about him. Who would?
I appreciate it. Love you.
But how did he get so excited? So
you were a lawyer.
Oh.
No. That's what makes him such a great floor. That's what I said. If your floor guy can't talk about dimensional stability, you're going to need a new floor guy.
Here, bottom line it though, he would still have to say the best wood. Well, but then you're saying actually it's an engineered floor. It's more dimensionally stable, right?
Right, but you don't always need that. So like if you're in a high-rise building, or like in Dave's case, we gave him an engineered floor in a single-family house because I didn't want to rip out his existing floor.
Right.
I floated it right over.
It's unbelievable. I mean,
we did it in what, 4 days?
Oh no, I like it.
The whole house.
It was done. Instead of excavating his floor, putting him through this mess and craziness, just to drop it down 3/4 of an inch.
And everybody who walks in, we haven't had a lot of people over because of COVID, but everybody who'd never been to my house, who everybody been to my house before, they just go, oh my God. So how do they do 2 years? Do they take 18 hours instead of 14? Because I mean, I was 3 years ago. How do they make it in 2 years? Just more hours?
First, they had a lot of AP classes going in from high school, and then they took classes in between semesters, summer school, and they fitted it in 2 years. Yeah. No, they're both in law school. My youngest starts this January. Jake is now working for Peck.
I think you told me that.
Yeah.
Peck is different. I mean,
And Peck is what he's doing. He does a lot of work, what you were just talking about, these special needs trust, because people get injured and then all that money goes into the special needs trust.
so the parents don't stay.
Yeah.
Carrie has all the big offers.
Well, that's what he does. That's what I'm finding out. That's what I know. That's So yesterday, Jake spent the day on the phone trying to find a airline from Afghanistan. So some kids in Afghanistan, he's got the trust. They got to justify the fee to get the money to get them home. It's like $40,000 for.
Court?
No, he's going to go to court, but he needs some evidence. What does it cost? How do you justify taking $40,000 out of that?
Because those are there's only one plane a year, probably coming out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, so Jake wants to do. He likes my line of work. He wants to do trusts also. Jake sees. I live in Bannockburn. Not a wolf.
That's how I went to Trinity.
So you know well, right there. So we know a lot of kids that went to Trinity because they went to school with him. Jake's also on the board of education, Bannockburn Board of Education. But Jake sees a lot of his friends are going to be successful. And he has his realtor license, so he wants to sell them things for the rest of their life. Legal, estate planning, taxes.
They got money. There's family money. It's never going to run out.
And they're all going to have a good job because they all went to a good school, and they're all going to have a good income, and they're going to throughout their lives. As he and I talk about, get them now. Then when they start buying. Building, you sell them there. They start building, you help them there. They start financial planning. You help them there. You help them to prepare their taxes. You help them there. They need a estate plan. Yes. Oh,
you could. Or you don't.
Yeah.
If you want to do
something,
shop,
dead.
you could. But yeah,
I'm dead.
You can sleep. You can pass it on.
Why and what happened?
So Jake's got this. Jake's had this vision. Again, just because.
Yeah, he sees it. And those parents all have it.
And Jake, as I tell Jake, this is something that's very valuable because you showed that it's repeatable. It wasn't just you. You showed your brother how to do it, and your brother did exactly the same thing you did. What's that worth? Not only to finish college in 2 years, but then to get a free ride to law school. What's that worth? It's got a big price tag on it.
So how many of those did we give away? Was it like 10%?
I don't. The answer is I don't know. I'm gonna tell you. When I went to, and of course, how they get good grades, they took the right, they became political science majors. You don't try to get an engineering degree because it's too hard. Yes, exactly. And so so you go to.
It didn't matter what they're doing.
Thank you.
Exactly. They needed a grade.
From the
because that's the way it works. Because that's the way it works.
And then they become attractive.
I can't.
So you have a high grade
I'm
plan.
fucking
Just tell them I'll tell them.
No.
Then I'm gonna stop and
do it. The next one.
His demeanor.
Yeah, exactly. And then buy the correct.
Yeah.
He's only on 26 now. Or 25.
That's the mistake.
Yeah, do me a favor.
30
Can you
and
text that 312
72.
Please call in.
That's why I went to a subscription plan. So now I sell subscriptions to my business, and because that's sellable. The one and done, you can't sell it because it's only you.
Because there's no guarantee that the people will like them.
Yeah, but the one and done, it's the marketing. Right? You got to keep bringing them in and selling them, bring them in. So I came up with a subscription to keep people there, keep paying them, keep paying. Then I do tax returns and stuff like that,
and then if they don't
business, again structuring and then questions and making yourself available.
And a flat once a year, and you'll talk to them as much as they need.
Alec David Hochberg, how are you?
We got an enrollment fee and then a monthly fee.
48 pounds, baby. I look great. I'll take a picture of me without my shirt.
I've only been doing it for not even.
Well, hang on. Are you at home right now?
Oh, it's working.
All right. Here's what I want you to do.
Actually, I had started we called it the Irs Protection Plan. So I would sell that afterwards. But now, and then I read a book called Subscription, by subscription only or something. And I actually listened to an audio book.
All right, you're the best. Thank you.
All these different businesses are doing subscription business. So I saw my Irs Protection Plan. Instead of selling them separately, it was very difficult to sell because after I've already helped them, then like, oh, you need this, and some people agreed, some people didn't. But now I just said it's mandatory. You gotta,
if you want to be your guy,
this is the way it is. This is the way it works.
We got 1, 2, 3.
No, not yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah. So when I sit down with me, I explain. Here, this is how it works.
If you run the numbers for that,
here's why. Because with the IRS, most of my clients were going to do what they call partial installment collectibles. So, and that's not going to go away, right? And the IRS is going to come back at you in 2 years and say, prove it again. Right? So if I've already set up a payment plan with you, and then I'm done with you, inevitably 2 years later, maybe they don't file their tax return on time, so they default. And then they come back to me and they say, "Oh, can you help me?" Well, yeah, but I'm charging you again.
Why are those two things bad? And then we'll finish up with your engineer.
So I'm like, here, this in the end, it's going to save you money and also heartache.
Yeah, no,
because that's right. After you're already being beat up again, because you don't want to come back to me right away. Because you're not going to come back to me right away, and they're going to start garnishing you, and you're going to be right back where you were. So you want to fix it, and that's why my
Does that obligate you in any way or fashion if they pay their $500?
You don't even know what baseball is.
Monitoring their world, or you do not proactively monitor how they're doing with the other.
They still have to let me know, but I'm still on the notice list. So they're still sending me stuff. And so I'm going to do their tax returns. Well, you could think of things. That's why I love that book.
Real estate, they're only doing every 10 years. That wouldn't work.
Well, except for then you can do property tax appeals and everything else. I do property, but they're terrible. I don't like them. But did you see there's a new case out that now homeowners associations can bring
on behalf of everybody?
Yes, I'll be ever.
Not million tax people, one unit. If they're the association, they're the plaintiff.
Yes.
You need that.
Because they used to be the only condos can do it, but now the homeowners associations can do it. That's going to open up a market because individuals, I don't make any fucking money. I've tried.
My building, they gave us no vacancy exemptions. I'm 25% occupied on my office building. Now I call and they go, we don't do vacancies anymore. The new guys Well, these are long break stage, jeez.
But that's going to be a huge benefit for me because I'm going to start selling them again.
Up in Granite, there's like 8 houses and all through jams. The Happy Acres comes in. I wonder if Mario Apollo was on to that.
I'm sure they might have been the ones. I have to look at that's the new case just came out last week.
I don't care if
Wow.
You know how I know?
My son told me.
He's on there. He's reading the listserv.
He's like Stan because he's been on me to start sending them. He's got. So Carrie told me because Carrie came on the show. Carrie came on the show and Jake said, "Ask him if he needs a intern or something." So I said, "He said, yeah. Matter of fact, we are accepting applications." He said, "I'm not going to make any promises. Have your kid."
But then he saw his resume.
And he said to my kid, he says, "I don't know. You got a nice resume. Do you really want this clerk job?" And Jake said, "Can you hire me as an attorney?" He said, "No." He said, "I'll take the clerk job."
He's savvy.
Oh,
You taught him.
Jake's a sharp kid.
Now, is your wife like that?
No.
She doesn't triangulate.
No.
Like he's there on you.
Yeah.
You are my initiation was on my law.
Let's get Igor teed up.
He went to buy his daughter a Honda. And he told her, and he just texted me today. He said, it's in Florida. And he told the guy to take
40 seconds. You got to rejoin.
And they go,
I'm going to bring Greg up.
We can't
Talk about monkey balls.
I don't know. What do you mean? I didn't pay for it.
Do you know?
I don't want it.
Well,
I didn't order it.
I've heard of it, but I don't know.
I think it's
I got 2 weeks for it. It was like an 89 brand new. And I went with him to the dealer. I said, "Oh, cut that guy."
Monkey wood.
It's $250. And I watched how he did it. He goes, "I didn't ask for it." And then he walks out. And the guy goes down the driveway.
For $250.
Sorry. Made lie. So I brought that. I don't
7.
accept people offers.
Here we go.
This episode of Home Sweet Home Chicago is sponsored by Deductible and Mega Pros Home Improvement and Restoration, attorney Stephen A. Leahy, and the law offices of David Schroeder.
312-981-7200, 312-981-7200. Go to WGNDavid.com for all of our contact information and to download podcasts of previous shows. 312-981-7200 is also our text and photo line, in addition to the call-in line for the show. Greg out in Milwaukee, happy holidays, buddy. How can we help you?
So are you actually using them to serve food in, or is it just for decoration? Well, so one of the things that you can do, if in fact they're going to be used for serving food and for housing food, you can treat them as what we would recommend, Joe. And I'm sure you're familiar when you have cutting boards. You don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to put polyurethane on it because it's coming into contact with food. So yeah, you just oil them. So you can use a vegetable oil, just any kind of natural oil. But what you may want to do also is, monkey wood is actually a very hard species of wood. It's kind of a reddish brown, right? Okay, so you can take a little bit of a Scotch-Brite pad and just kind of clean them up a little bit. That'll take care of maybe some of the little scratches, and it'll also prepare them to get oiled. And then you basically just pour a little bit of vegetable oil in there afterwards. And just wipe that in there, rub it in there real good, let the bowl absorb it, and then you should be good to go. You may need to repeat it maybe another 1 or 2 times, but that's really the extent of it.
What type of pad? Scratch pad?
Well, like a Scotch-Brite pad. It's basically like a 000 or
they're green.
They're green. You know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Well, Steven's wife uses them all the time too. Olive oil?
Olive oil should be okay. I mean, any natural oil, I would think, Joe. I don't know if you
So olive oil, the problem is we got a bunch of black corner type, and I did olive oil one time, and that can actually go rancid.
Oh, there you go.
So you got to be careful with the olive oil.
Steve, what? Mineral oil?
Mineral oil is fine.
Steve, Steve's wife does that same procedure on him. What type of oil do you prefer, Steve?
It's different, David.
It's a different type of oil. Never mind. Greg,
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I would just want to say,
all right, buddy, hang on for your Mr. Floor Cleaning, complimentary Mr. Floor Cleaning product. I know, I said thank you. You want to give him a Mega Pro?
bathroom?
You want to give him a bathroom? Congratulations, Greg. We got a gift. You want to send him a hoodie?
I would love to send him a hoodie.
All right, hang on, Greg.
Greg, you want a hoodie?
Yeah. I have a double X white shoulder. But hang on, buddy. 312-981-7200. Schluter.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't spoil Christmas monkeying around.
No, Dave Schluter opening 2-drink minimum. You see, the only person laughing is the other attorney. You're dying.
Hey, he'll get this. He's going to get the swing of it once he starts the bowls.
Okay, there's another one. There's strike two. Okay, can you compose?
No, that is so funny. And again, I just want to point out that this is why Igor is the Mr. Floor guy. He knows these things. No, but if your floor guy doesn't know that about a bowl, about a salad bowl,
the only smart people in the room are attorneys.
He's not an attorney.
Wait a minute.
But he's not an attorney.
Joe,
you get a.
You're championing him because he was
No, I'm
Joe,
championing because he's the greatest.
We're a bunch of primates here hanging out.
That's
three.
All right, so monkey wood.
Yeah,
it's not what we've seen in the zoo. Meaning, monkey wood is, but there's a whole series of those woods. IP is it?
Ipe.
Ipe. Yep. So these are extremely hard wood. Ironwood, another brand name.
Purple Heart.
But monkey wood is kind of an oddball name.
You know what it is, Joe? We don't use it in flooring. Right. Primarily used in furniture. It can sometimes be used in some of these decorative bowls that the caller was referring to. But it's a very pretty floor, but you would never use it in construction per se.
You use teak?
We have used teak. The teak lumber is unbelievably expensive and is no longer a good option.
815 text in mineral oil is best. Food oil goes rancid.
There you go.
Yes, thank you. Wow, somebody agreed. Usually on the text line, somebody's like, "Oh, you're good."
312-981. Well, we got scroll up about a half hour. Those are from
I was going to say that's your wife.
Your wife. And it's ironic. It says Judy Hogle. Right? It doesn't give her phone number. It just says Judy Hogle. And she signed it Judy Hogle. 312-981. 312-981-72.
I'm having too much fun, dude.
I know you are. Megapro's call, text, and phone line.
You're giggly today.
I always am. David always makes me laugh. That's it.
Igor's got a trivia question. What are baseball bats made of? What type of wood? So send us.
And why did they change them?
And when did they change? And why did they change them? 312-981-72.
And then why did they change them back?
And then why did they change it back? You want to keep going? I got to hit a break. 312-981-72. Ticket control. 312-981-7200. You listen to the Megapros call text. That's the Megapros call text and phone line. You're listening to Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720 WGN.
It is so fun.
And my fourth one, that was a barrel of fun.
We're glad we didn't have
So when I get up in the northwoods, so I don't even know.
You think I would know the answer to that, but I don't.
The baseball one?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. So last, I don't know if you're a baseball guy. I am. I went to a party. A guy, attorney friend of mine, every year has a dinner. I'm gonna call it Christmas dinner. Okay. At Gibson's every year. Yeah, pretty nice. Gets the room in the back. Sometimes, and then he has a guest. So one year it was Bobby Hull. One year it was Dan Hampton. One year it was Pat Hughes. This year he had 3 major league umpires.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Joe West.
Oh, really? He's a legend?
Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah, Tom Halen, and then and that's why he got him, because his cousin is Dan Bellino, and Dan Bellino is from here in Chicago, but he's been a major league umpire now for maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
So, well, he's my favorite. And again, since he's been
Joe West, I mean, that's say no more.
It was good.
That's awesome. How much time we got, Dave?
Minute 10. Joe,
beeswax also. You could wax that. You know what I'm saying?
Beeswax?
Meaning you can wax those bulbs.
Yeah, but then you're going to keep re-waxing.
So my friend does a lot of custom refurbishing of old woods and stuff. I mean, the guy is just a master. But he uses wax on almost even after he varnishes it, he still waxes it.
Well, the benefit of doing that is that you can just keep waxing it.
all right, Steve, we're going to come back to you. I want to talk to you about that.
If you use too much of it.
My wife asked me last night, "What are you watching?" Because I was watching a YouTube channel, and it was a mill guy cutting wood, cutting this log in the. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, I love that.
So I was watching a guy. My wife says, "What are you watching?" Because I'm watching YouTube last night. I've been watching a lot of furniture guys. A guy making a chessboard.
Here we go.
Oh, so beautiful.
Here we go.
Beautiful.
312-981-7200 is the Megapro's call, text, and photo line. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720 WGN. Stephen A. Leahy, I want to ask you a quick question. Okay, I'm going to give you a situation. Listener inherited his house from his mom. He has about 170 G's left on the mortgage, $170,000. Home is worth about $350 to $400, depending upon which online evaluation model you use, right? Zillow, Redfin, whatever. Okay. He makes about 80 grand a year. He's got maybe $130,000 to $160,000 worth of credit. Whatever it is, it's a lot. Challenge is when we do the numbers and work the numbers, even if we paid off all of the credit cards, he doesn't make enough money to own that house. His front end ratio is his principal, interest, tax, and insurance is at 51%, and his DTI, which is his principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, plus all of his debt, knocks him out of qualifying. So there's no shot of refinancing. Impossible, right? He didn't know anything about the COVID forbearance, even though we talked about it for 20 months on the station. So he missed the opportunity of saving over $1,100 a month on his mortgage payment and using that money to pay down other debt. Guy's over a barrel. So I called you and said, with this situation, makes about 75, 80. I don't know exactly what it is, but that's about it. He got cut back due to COVID. due to his job being eliminated. He worked in a restaurant, and he tapped out all of his savings, and he did something that you don't recommend that people do. He tapped out a lot of his retirement accounts, and he's in his late 40s, early 50s. Ton of equity in the home, $130,000 to $160,000 with credit card debt. Could barely make enough money to survive. What's the best plan of attack for this listener?
Well, this is one of those very difficult cases because everybody thinks bankruptcy can help everybody. I just filed bankruptcy, and that's why people do this themselves, and they get themselves in trouble. So
will this listener qualify for bankruptcy?
Well, qualification is not the right term because everybody qualifies if you're willing to give things up, because that's what happens in bankruptcy, Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So if you think of the bankruptcy code as a book, and like every other book, it's divided into chapters. The one that most people think about is Chapter 7. And the title of Chapter 7 is liquidation. So what happens is there are some exemptions that you can protect some assets, but anything above those exemptions, they take it from you and they sell it. And then they use that money to pay your creditors. And so when you say qualify, if you want to do that, you could file a bankruptcy and they'd take your house away from you and they'd sell it. And then they'd take the money and they pay off your creditors. Right. But you can do that yourself. You don't need bankruptcy to do that. So people always think, well, I just won't pay my creditors because I'll file Chapter 7. This is where people get in trouble because they will. If you have assets, better get some help because you make a mistake if you file bankruptcy by yourself because you're going to lose your assets. And that's just what happens. And then people say, well, then I could turn to Chapter 13. And sometimes that's a good option. The problem is under Chapter 13, and the title of Chapter 13 is Adjustment of Debt for Individuals with Regular Income. But what happens under Chapter 13 is you devise a plan to pay your creditors back. If I have a lot of equity, the law says that my creditors can do no worse under Chapter 13 than they could under Chapter 7. What does that mean? That means I'd have to pay back my creditors that much money. And if I owe $160,000 and I have $160,000 in equity, well, over 5 years, $160,000 is over $2,000 a month, right? That would be $120,000. So you're looking at $2,500 a month. If you can't pay that, well, the Chapter 13 won't work for you. So it gets very complicated after that, right? So bankruptcy isn't always the answer, and sometimes you need to. And I'm not a big debt consolidation person. I don't think that really works very much. And in this case, probably best thing to do would be to sell the house. Now, if you're current on everything and nobody sued you, well, you'll be able to close your loan and there's no liens against you. There's no judicial claims against you. And so you should be able to sell your house and then keep making your payments or use the money to pay off your credit cards.
Yeah, if we had somebody on the brink of that happening where they would almost be ready to have a judgment against them, the title company, just so everybody knows, if in case you're going to go ahead and sell the house, the morning of the closing, the title company pulls what's called a later date. And that later date has caught a few of my clients who had a judgment hit a week or two before closing. That has to be paid out of the closing. Mm-hmm. So you might not get all your equity. Be careful and watch those dates. But if you haven't been sued yet and there are no judgments and nothing happens up till the day of closing, you're free to keep those proceeds and maybe make some offers with that money to clear your credit. But just beware in case you're running from one of those and you're in circuit court right now or something and your house is for sale, you could have quite a surprise. The title officer walks in and says, Dave, what's this one from Discover Card? And then we have to hold back a boatload of money. It's just a matter of timing. If you actually do get the closing done and the bomb drops the next day, you're still okay because they're all worried about your buyer getting bothered by that creditor. And that's what the title insurance companies do. And I want to give a shout out to my new title closer, Diane, in Norwood Park. Thanks for your great job.
I just want to mention that that's very good advice what Dave just said, and exactly true. And what happens is, as you pointed out, now you'll have a lump sum of money. Now you can start negotiating. It's hard to negotiate when you don't have any money. Right? It's like, hey, can I come up with a payment plan? It's like, you've already defaulted on the payment plan. It's called your credit card payments, and you've already defaulted on that.
So this listener right now, who's listening right now, sells the home, walks away with about, after realtors and moving and tax proration, title fees, and paying the attorneys, because you got to pay the attorneys.
Absolutely.
You can't do a closing without an attorney. Yeah. All of that. Let's say he walks away with $90,000 to $100,000, and he's got $130,000 to $160,000 worth of debt. Is that coffee good? Because it sounds great on the radio. I mean, you want a tuna sandwich?
Yeah, Julie's nuts.
Right. You want a ham sandwich? You want me to go to JP Graziano and get you a sub or something?
The answer is yes.
I can't believe Igor was drinking coffee.
312-981-72.
This is radio. They don't know.
I don't slurp.
Right up. That's a Dave Schlur. I'll have JP drop off. I'll have him drop off a sandwich.
A venti.
312-981-72.
Get back to that deal, though.
Yeah.
Right? You're saying analyze the equity available.
Yes, and you might be able to come up with a deal when you have a lump sum money, and the older the debt is, the more likely it is you can come up with a deal.
The problem is all of this listener's liquidity is trapped in the equity of the home, and the only way to get that liquidity is to sell the home. Yes, his parents left him the home, his mom left him the home. There's a lot of stuff in it, so the plan is he's going to take the holidays to think about it. He's up for a new job to make a ton more money, which hopefully he can get himself retrenched and out of this mess. He finally called up his servicer, went into forbearance, right?
Good
which
deal.
Is great.
Yes.
So he could take that $1,000 to live off of, not default on anything, keep his credit up to speed, and not miss any payments. Because once you do that, you completely blow yourself up. And then if he's making more money, like another $30,000 or $40,000, which he's up for a new job, which he said, then we could use that new income to maybe refinance him, get him out of the box, or he's going to have to make the tough decision come February, March to sell that house and get into a better position.
Absolutely. And again, sometimes there's not an easy answer. For some people, the answer is easy. File bankruptcy. Sometimes it's the fastest, easiest way to start rebuilding your credit. But if you got equity, it doesn't work that way.
I just want to, David just mentioned something so important. Do not listen to these attorneys that tell you to just skip a few payments.
I agree.
You'll be qualified. How many years, David? How many stations have we been at mopping up people who were told skip a few payments, you'll be all set?
312-981-7200. Sally from our pledge lady is on the phone, Igor. She called in. And I just saw that
so relate to Sally. I've done that same thing in my life.
So, Sally, please hang tight. I just saw that you're on the phone because I was deeply entrenched in hearing Dave Schluter slurping on the air. 312, is there any cream in that? Sounds like you're loaded with cream. Is there cream?
Just a touch.
All right, I could tell.
You've been on the radio longer than most of us.
Wow, it's like Dykstra's in here. He bangs. He constantly bangs. I'm like, you've been on the radio for 2 years, and you're constantly banging.
I do appreciate the grace you're showing. I really
Absolutely.
do. I can feel
I'm just
the
trying
love.
to help you out and correct it for next year.
You should know better.
Oh, so I get re-upped?
Well, I don't know. It's up to you. 312-981-7200, 312-981-7200. That's the MegaPro's call, text, and photo line. You're listening to Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720 WGN. Hang tight. We're going to throw it over to traffic, news, and weather. We'll be back after all that good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Hey, did you do a 1031 exchange when you?
Yeah.
So
I sold Townstone's building.
Yeah.
And I bought a building.
I remember it. Yeah, you did an exchange
off of Chicago.
Yeah, Ashland or something like that.
Yeah.
You're like a partner in it, but you spent all your money.
Like everything went good for you.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah, and because you have to spend $1
You've got
more.
$1, 2,
$1
about
more
5
than what
minutes.
is sold.
5 minutes?
Yeah, because
So
we got 3 minutes
So
before traffic.
$500,000
We
building.
got about 3 minutes
It
for
doesn't matter how
news.
much you net. You have to spend $501, and his interest in that building was more than what he sold. So that's why it works.
Vacant land out in Harvard.
Yes, passive vacant land. Yes.
Okay. 1031. Do I have to do
Like kind meaning passive income. It could be a building. It could be just not a house for you. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like kind is meaning.
It doesn't mean I have to do vacant land.
No, passive income property. It could be a 6 flat. It could be.
Steve, that was hysterical.
Yeah. And then you just kick the can till the next year. And if you don't spend it all, you just pay tax on what you don't spend. It's called boot. So if you take $1 million out of the vacant land and you only spend $800, you will be taxed on what you don't use.
I didn't know. I thought you had to spend money.
No, you can pay on the part you don't use, because a lot of times people can't find a replacement property that they like. They get on. The can gets kicked for the part you roll in, but then you pay regular
So you got to
capital.
buy that within 6 months of.
No, you have to identify in 45 days and close within 6 months. You have a month and a half. I got a guy coming up like on day 40 tomorrow. I'm like, what are you doing? He's got 900,000 tied up. He inherited a property. He's like, he's being picky about what he wants. And I said, you have to do something, or just pay. I don't really care what you do. But who do you use? Do you use IPX? If you were holding up the money on your exchanges through Power, do you know?
I do it. I do. Yeah.
Oh, you hold the money too?
No, I don't because I don't do them anymore.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, you Power. This guy who used to work for me, he left what I do and became an exchange vice president, and so he gets. I probably do 7 or 8 a year only. I'm not a big roller, but he only charges $850 to hold your money, and that's insane. He might have raised his price to $1,000 in January starting, but that's well because you don't touch the closing money. It sits in a separate corporation up here to make sure you spend it. You're not allowed to touch it, so you have to pay a fee to have them hold it up until the time you close on the next one. They act as like a trust company, just doing real estate money. It makes $1,000 a five. It's a joke for the benefit.
You know they're trying to eliminate that 1031.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
try to anything that makes sense. They're going to try to eliminate.
It's complicated for sure.
They want, they want to eliminate any
Breaks.
anytime you don't have to pay your taxes. That's they talk about the wealth tax.
Maurice,
You've heard this, right? The wealth tax.
Well, it goes up. It means like it's the incremental
Increase in your assets.
Right, increase in assets, right, of what you own. This is communism.
Oh, yeah.
And then you know what? They already have all of our retirement stuff. They get reported. Edward Jones sends it every year.
Of course they do.
Yeah, so they have it. They would just grab it.
Of course
You'd
they
open
do.
your statement and be gone. Confiscation. Yeah, they're thinking of confiscating a portion of the retirement because they're running out of money and where to tax you.
think about it.
And it's not fair. Well, now you sound like my kids because they whenever whenever I say, hey, this is what they're talking about doing, and they just turn out
they don't believe it'll happen.
They don't believe it'll happen. But
95% of the shit they're saying.
I agree, and if they would have done all the things they wanted to do, we would really be in a ton of shit,
Like all this other.
But I still have to get up and rail against it. Okay, because
who are you? Like, what difference does it make by you telling me that?
not you.
No, but his radio show.
Yeah, and my clients, and you got to tell people about it. Here, this is what happened with the American Rescue Plan and the Cash App that we talked about here before. Nobody even knew that was in that bill until after it passed. If everybody knew what was in that bill, they might have objected, and it wouldn't have got passed. Which is what happened with the bank statement thing that I was railing about the last time I was on, right? And that we need people to object to it, and then they take it out because people will object if they know it's there. That's what's wrong with these huge bills that are out there.
At 2 in the morning.
There's so many. Yeah. After an hour of talking about it at 2 o'clock in the morning.
What do you guys know about selling land on a land?
Okay, you just carry the note.
So all I'm doing is carrying the note.
Yeah, and then if they miss one payment, you get it
How
back.
does the capital gains work? So I wouldn't incur capital. But
Depends when the sale's final.
Right, when the balloon payment hits. When they cash you out. You're never going to finance the whole thing. On a land contract, you probably finance 80%, make it come up with 20% down. And then the beauty about a land contract, instead of a sale, is that they lose their equity. You're like Wells Fargo. If they miss a payment, it reverts back to you, and they lose everything they put into it. It's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you took $20,000, I'm just hypothetical, $100,000 property, you take 20 down, you carry the 80. If they miss an installment, you foreclose. Just
Here we go.
Then how do my taxes?
312-981-7200. 312-981-7200. That is the Mega Pros call, text, and photo line. 312-981-7200. We have the pledge lady on the line here. Sally was trying to kill her family members, especially her 90-year-old father. Is it your father or father-in-law?
Not kill him.
Father. Did you guys have an argument or something? You're trying to put.
Is there a life insurance policy?
Is there a big?
Too bad you know that.
Never in the past 20 years, Igor never used pledge ever. Day before her 80. How old is your father? 89. God bless him. Supposed to come over tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's go get the pledge. Well,
I don't buy it.
Wait a second. I told you guys I am the pledge culprit at my house.
Yeah.
If I'm going to clean anything, make it shiny, I'm going to use pledge.
Right.
But then what happens?
floor around the table is so slippery, you can't navigate it.
This is the first time in like 40 years that Sally ever picked up a bottle of pledge the day before her 89-year-old father.
Sally knows how to use that.
Sally, how are you? Thank you for calling. So you've got this big event tomorrow. Is it tonight or tomorrow? Tomorrow. Did Igor, and you tried Igor's recommendation, how did it work out? So for our new listeners that just tuned in that might not have heard us during the first hour, while you were talking about floors, we had an emergency text coming. 312, I have a floor emergency. Help me, help me, help me, right? So, of course, we stopped everything we're talking about, and I read the text. I cleaned furniture with pledge last night. The spray got all over my hardwood floor. The floor is now dangerously slippery. How can I fix that? I have 12 people, including my 89-year-old dad, coming over tomorrow. Please, please, please help me, help me, help me. I'm desperate.
Right.
And Igor, your recommendation was?
My recommendation is never to use vinegar or Windex, but in this particular emergency situation, Sally, and you'll never do this again, by the way. Promise me you'll never do this again. Okay.
What should she use?
So 1-800 Mr. Floor Blue stuff.
There you go. Well,
don't get pledge on the floor.
No, but what should she use?
So Sally, go to MrFloor.com. Okay, you will see our lineup of our cleaning products, and at the very top you'll see the wood floor cleaner, which is your daily cleaner. That's the correct way to do it. Use the promo code WGN, okay, and get yourself a bottle of our product, and you will absolutely love it. We've got people here in the studio. Dave, both Davids actually use it. Steve uses it. I think Joe's tried it. We've got thousands of our WGN listeners using it. I know you. Okay, that's why we love it.
But here's what I want you to do. I want you to make an emergency bottle of a little bit of vinegar.
That'll be 1-800 Mr. Fall.
Yeah.
Avoid it.
With a room full of attorneys, you definitely don't want to use pledge on it.
But what you also told me, Sally, Igor told me, Windex is actually harder on your fences than vinegar.
Yeah, because it's something.
I know, but the Windex is, I've been cautioned on this before.
It's acidic. It's acidic, and it's the same problem with vinegar, Sally. And for everybody else listening, the problem with vinegar is that it's too acidic. It'll actually cut through, and it'll break down the polyurethane coating. And if you use it as a regular method of cleaning your floors, what you'll eventually do is you'll eventually wear out that polyurethane coating, which is what's protecting your floor. And then you'll be calling me to come in and sand or refinish your wood floors, which you don't want to do, and it's unnecessary. So we developed our wood floor cleaner for that exact purpose. We limit the amount of water because you dispense it out of a spray bottle. We limit the chemicals that are there. They're all non-toxic. They're all biodegradable. You spritz a little bit onto the floor surface and wipe it down. That's it.
So Sally, here's what.
Technically you can.
I would stick with pledge.
Joe's a huge fan of pledge on furniture. So. But Sally, if you're going to use pledge in the future, spray the pledge onto the rag and then use the rag to wipe the furniture.
Sally, that's
don't
what
spray.
Igor just taught me. Spray it on the rag, Sally.
Because it's that overspray that's really that's what became the issue for you.
Unless you want to take a relative out or somebody you don't like that's coming over to you.
Right, then you order a case.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even really.
No, true.
It's bad. It's real bad.
Don't fall with it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you were successful in removing that pledge. And again, use the Mr. Floor cleaning products. You're going to love them. They're great for the holidays. You've got family coming over. Spray, wipe. It's real easy. And again, use the promo code WGN at checkout when you go to MrFloor.com.
And that's for all of our listeners, Sally. You go to WGN. Yes. You go to Mr. Floor, enter in promo code WGN for your discount on your first order. Have a happy and a healthy Christmas and New Year, Sally. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thanks, Sally.
312-981-7200. 312-981-7200. Dave, I just want to throw this out there. We've got 4 minutes before the break, 5 minutes before the break. A listener, so I had a utility drop a little note on my door saying, hey, we want to cut your neighbor's tree in the backyard and we want to come on your property. I said, all right, great. But we can't guarantee, this is what's in writing. We can't guarantee if anything's going to be broken. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we're going to do our best to protect your property, and the ground will probably be frozen. I'm like, that's great. Challenge is I invested a ton of money in my backyard in pavers. I put these little lights down. So I called the guy. He put his number down there. Oh, pleasant to be, because I'm Mr. Pleasant.
Pleasant.
I'm Mr. with a capital P. So I called this guy back, the phone number. I said, hey, no problem. I go, but will you pay? I put these pavers out. It took 6 months due to COVID. My backyard was half complete for basically the entire summer. I go, in the event that something breaks, and this is not just for me, this is for the other listeners out there.
But they want to drive.
They want to drive a vehicle.
They want to drive something through my backyard. And they said that they will put down a protective shield. I said, that's great. What if in the event something cracks on my new landscaping paper? Will you replace it? No. I said, okay. Then why would I allow you in my backyard to do it? He's like, well, for safety. I'm like, listen, I'm all for safety. I'm all for public safety, public access. But I also have lights that I put on the ground that Mike Long from Mike's Lighting and Landscaping put in. I go, I'm going to have to pull those up and put them back in. Will you pay to have them removed and reinstalled? No, that's for your account. I go, so let me get this straight. If you want me to give you permission to come into my backyard that I just put a sizable investment in for pavers and all this stuff and new lights in, and you want me to remove the lights and put them back, and you won't cover the cost of that, the investment I have to do for that, and you won't guarantee you're going to replace anything that gets broken, why would I allow you in? They started getting happy with me. I said, listen, it's a holiday season, my birthday on Saturday. I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm going to make it to the mall. I'll be 55. I don't want to get into an argument at 8 o'clock at night. Ask your supervisor to call me. Then I get the guilt trip, right? The Jewish guilt trip. Don't you want us to be safe? I go, I want everybody to be safe. I just don't want you cracking my backyard that we just invested a ton of money.
David, don't you want them to be safe?
I want them to be safe.
Listen, you are totally right. Here's why that letter was written. They don't have the right to do it. That's why they're asking your permission. You don't have to give them permission. Let them figure it out. The tree is your neighbor's tree. And you just, the fact that they started all in with the negativity and a guilt trip, it tells you right there that's an omen. Let them figure it out without coming on your property. If they had an easement, as Steve and I were talking before the show started, they wouldn't have written you the letter. They would have put a note on your door, we're coming on Thursday. So you should hang tough. You're not being unfair. You're not being selfish. If they've already been very upfront that they're not going to make you whole, you would be screwed if you tried to make a claim on your insurance, because they'd say, how did this happen? Well, they reached out to me and I let them come. Then they're not going to help either.
Right.
So no, you're fine. You're not a bad person. You knew that already. But no, you don't have, they'll figure it out. They'll get something on the other guy's property, maybe like a longer boom or something, and reach around and get them. They'll figure it out. They're just into their own interest. And that letter was written very carefully. And thank God you read the letter.
Steve, you want to add to that? Because, turning on
Dave's right.
There you go. Now I have a reason to live.
312-981 7200 312-981 7200.
It's a legal opinion.
Vicky in Antioch, how are you? What's going on? Yeah. Dave?
It could, but I think it is more like the township, because they would have picked up a quick claim deed at the county. They have the same computer at the township that the county does, and they communicate minute by minute. And so our average line is to say, that, well, in Cook County, for example, a law was passed during the terrible days where a lot of people were getting scammed. A certified letter now comes out to the registered owner when there's any activity in the nature of a title search. So are you in Cook County? Okay. Another thing you can do is this. If you're really concerned that something happened, my title company, of which I've been an agent of 35 years, it'll be $140 for their fee. We can pull a 20-year search of everything that's ever happened with your title, and that's really the only way to know. And all I would do is charge a very nominal fee above that to read that and forward it to you. It's probably worth it if you really think the township wasn't straight. Another thing you could do, although it's a hard time to get in with COVID, would be to visit up on County Street up there in Waukegan at the recorder's office, but it may be a tough time of year to get in there. So if you want to give me a call next week, I can request that title search for you. And my buddy Steve has a comment as well.
Well, we've talked about this on the show before because we see it on television all the time. Yeah, all of this stuff, and they're really, and they have some prominent people
Bill O'Reilly
who and others who put it out there. And what I always tell people is if it makes you feel safer, because it's not that much money, then the insurance is worth it. But that's what insurance is for, right? To give you more, to give you safety, make you feel better than it would really protect you here in Illinois.
Dave, how many years you've been doing law?
36 years.
Have you ever heard of anybody's title getting ripped off?
No,
Okay.
Especially if they have a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a mortgage, man? Okay, that does make you a little higher candidate for it because they basically could take a lot more. Well, I've had people call me with 5% equity, and I say no one's going to steal that because Wells Fargo is ahead of them. But again, no, I have not heard of it. But again, the one time it happens, you'll feel terrible. I really would like to pull that title for you next week if you want me to.
Steve, I got 5 seconds. Want to add something?
I agree.
Yeah, we'll give it to you.
Yeah, your phone number, Dave, real quick.
Yeah, 630-285-5300. I'll be back in the office Monday, but don't rush. But just call and say you were from the radio show.
Hang on, Vicki. We're going to take our information, give it to Dave off there. Call 312-981-7200. This is a MegaPost call, text, and photo line. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720. WGN. I didn't think that was going to go there.
No. Yeah, you don't want to ever have it on the radio. It'll never happen because then they'll be like, thanks a lot, Dave. But yeah, Cook, they send us certified letter.
Well, I always tell people, if it makes you feel better, then it's worth it. If it doesn't,
just as good on fake wood slats. Yes. We'll take that also.
Yes, but it depends on what the fake wood is.
You can answer all that shit.
I'll be happy.
As an interior designer, has worked with wood floors for years. Do not use pledge on wood furniture. Use lemon oil on a rag.
Lemon oil.
It's from an interior designer, Joe. Trump and
it's got to be true. Got to be true.
Trump and you, baby.
Is she an ASID?
What?
Is she an ASID?
What's an ASID?
That's a certified designer. Well, if she doesn't have those credentials, then Joe knows more than she does.
Joe, text
yeah,
her back.
I actually know more than she does.
There you go.
Even if she has it.
Done.
My question to her would be, do you wax on furniture? Not even.
Do you wax yourself? Or somebody
Groceries are messed up. Your wife just left Jewel $300.
What's that now?
My wife just left Jewel because we're ordering in, but we're going to do the little sausage and $300. That did not happen before. The food costs are just crazy.
Unbelievable.
What time does the show open? 11?
12.
12?
Yes.
It's 10:48. We've got an hour and 15.
It's actually going by.
What time's the pizza come? Do I got to order a pizza? I don't even have time to order a pizza now.
Did you make the drive in from Woodstock?
Dave wants to rush home so he can catch my mass on the streaming today.
On what?
His church.
I get double tagged.
You're doing a mass?
I get the mass.
I'm streaming the mass today at 5:30.
It's closer to Jesus, Alex.
Nice.
I'm streaming it.
You're streaming.
Streaming.
For his
Yes.
friends and family, they can watch his church.
Not my friends and family, for the church.
No, I know, but I'm on it.
What do you mean? Like,
It's
are
church
you
service.
in the mass?
No, I bring cameras, I set it up, and I stream for people to watch online.
He takes the cameras down from his bedroom and brings it out of the church. And then
Yeah.
resets it.
I've been doing it. Of course, they asked me to do it for a couple of weeks right after COVID for Easter.
Now you're in for a year.
Now you're the guy.
Yeah. So
Every church needs one. Man.
So they ask, and of course I take a lot of.
Deacon or something?
I am not a deacon,
He's a lay
although
leader.
One time I bought a cross and it was a deacon's cross and I did not know it. And I was wearing it when my deacon. I didn't know you were a deacon. I said, what do you mean, Father? I said, well, that's a deacon's cross. So I took it off. I gave it to the deacon. I didn't know. It's kind of like me. I have a Hall of Fame hot dog certificate. It's like, but I'm not on the Hall of Fame. I didn't know it was a thing. But then I had the guy from Vienna Beef on my show, and he said, "Oh no, that's a real thing." And then he says, "We're going to nominate you."
There we go.
One. Not yet because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
That's how you'll get to be a deacon.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's like a 4-year school.
Oh, and you have to if you're married, yeah, your wife has to do it.
312-981-7200, 312-981-7200. Go to WGNDavid.com for all of our contact information, down the podcast, previous shows, and also to submit your question for our experts if you don't feel comfortable calling into the show.
Can I say that Dave and I are not experts? Okay, as a attorney, I cannot be an expert. So please don't refer to me as that. And Dave's the same.
And I told you that way back when you say trust expert. Yeah, you just want to say trust. No.
All right,
it's prohibited by our code of ethics because it's unfair dealing if they go, well, he's an expert and you're not. So the ISBA says we can't.
All right, I got it. Joe, you and I will be the experts on this.
Yes, we'll be totally experts.
And we'll be the law attorneys,
David, to be
which is better than an expert.
It makes sense that in the connection be an expert.
Well, you've got a dodo head, Joe. You got a dodo. Here's where it comes from. And David's going to enjoy this. It's his show, but you got a dodo head lawyer who hangs out a shingle in your town, and he puts on there closing expert. Well, that's considered unfair dealing because another guy who might be in it for 20 years who really does know what they're doing, we're told we can't do that, so it doesn't give a false impression. And so that is why we are not allowed to use it in our advertising.
Specialties.
None of it.
All right, do you realize how consistent it is?
As an attorney, I find it unbelievably.
6 of our 9 listeners just turned this off.
Can you indemnify me?
847. I use beeswax, more food friendly than mineral oil. Won't go rancid. 50-50 water wax. Tom Arlington Heights.
What a brilliant.
You know what's interesting about beeswax is that beeswax, just like honey, I think, will never spoil. Okay, so honey cannot spoil.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's why they're using beeswax.
Yeah, honey physically cannot spoil.
All right, let's focus. 773. Stephen A. Leahy. If you sold one house and bought another, is it better to pay off the principal of the new house and lower your amount due to the bank? Is that principal deductible for the new mortgage for taxes?
The principal wouldn't be deductible.
No, but they're saying if you kept the cash.
So they're saying that they're paying the
right. So if they sold here, I'll give an example. If you clear 200 G's from house A,
yes,
and you bought house B,
yes,
and house B, you bought it for $300,000, and you could run with a $100,000 mortgage if you brought all $200,000 over, or you ran with a $240,000 mortgage, right? 80% loan to value, 20% down, and you kept that cash. Is it better to keep the cash or to have a higher mortgage payment right off the interest?
Well, obviously, if you're looking for deductions, then the interest would be deductible, right, and where the principal wouldn't be. So in that sense, it'd make more tax sense. But it doesn't. Just because you're going to pay more, you're going to get a deduction doesn't mean it makes sense to have a higher. Exactly.
Well, they may be confusing with the fact of how much they can pull out, and that might affect their income tax. But if it's their principal residence, if you're single, you get to add $250,000 to what your basis was. If you're married, you could add $500,000 in profit to what your basis was before you even care about the tax consequences of the sale.
So there are no capital gain consequences.
On your residence.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, what he's thinking about is more like David Hocker planning, which is what can you afford if the guy closes on the $240,000 loan and then 2 weeks later sends $100,000 in, it doesn't help him at all.
Right. The mortgage payment's going to be based off of $240,000.
Right.
Can I just say, I agree with Dave.
All right, 815. love your show. Every Saturday, especially today, WGN should let you expand it 2 days every week. I'm sure Mary
we went from 2 hours to 3 hours.
I'm just saying, Mary, you should check this text out. I agree with it. 815, you're spot on. 630. As an interior designer who has worked with wood furniture for years, do not use pledge on wood furniture. Use lemon oil on a rag, Joe Hogle.
So, because you're an interior designer, would that give you, would that be an expert?
Not if they're an attorney.
So, in other words, so I would have to call an attorney and argue this out. I don't know what lemon is.
Igor, you want to touch that?
Oil of lemons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, it could be semantics. I don't know if she didn't explain why. Why lemon oil versus pledge? The only thing I will say is that be careful of the overspray. So if you use pledge, spray the rag and then wipe the furniture with the rag. Don't spray the furniture with that. I would think so.
815, is vinegar good for LVP? What's LVP?
So LVP is luxury vinyl plank, and it's a synthetic product. Vinegar would probably be okay, but we actually produce a fantastic vinyl and laminate cleaner,
which I use on my
which I know you use on your basement. Yep. And it's fantastic. It's very easy to use, and it'll actually condition the vinyl. The concern with the vinegar is that it may actually dry it out.
Real quick, 847. We'll get another one in before the top of the hour. Hi guys, is that wood floor cleaner just as good on the fake wood slats?
So the short answer is yes, but depending on what the fake wood is made of, if it's vinyl or laminate or some other synthetic, I would recommend the use of our vinyl and laminate cleaner. And you could buy it at MrFloor.com. Use the promo code WGN.
All right, you are listening to Home Sweet Home Chicago. John from Joliet, I promise you'll be the first one we pick up on the other side of the 11 o'clock hour. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago. The phone, the text, and the photo line are the same. 312-981-7200. 312-981-7200. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720. WGN.
So many breaks.
I am a little concerned that lady got a letter from First American though. There could be a little.
That was the kind of a canary in a coal mine. Again, when you don't have a mortgage.
But I wonder. I hope she pays the money. I'll charge her $150 for the problem.
I never cover you for like 4 or 5 every hour. And that cuts in.
Did you just do a track search?
Another minute of talking.
No, track search doesn't have any. It'll have last owner and last loan, but I want to see the history in case it's happened a couple times. The track's like 75 versus the 140. Good question, though, Dave.
The heated floors.
Cook County literally does though. If you in your Northbrook home, someone tried it, you get a registered letter within a week. So at least you can stop the bleeding of whatever they did.
I think talking about whether we could be experts or specialty is more exciting than lemon oil. My own opinion.
There's 2 reasons why you should.
You guys can do whatever you want.
I get paid for my opinion, mister.
So far, no cow was reported. And if they did, I would just say he wrote the commercial.
Right.
Because you're going to create an imbalance.
I know. Of course, I think of those things. I have a guy who's a solo practitioner, and he advertises as an associates. Can't do that either. Can't do that.
Did you write him in?
No, he's a friend of mine. But I
thought he was a competitor.
No, he's a friend of mine. And I keep telling him, you're just asking for trouble.
We prices malpractice carrier lets him use it. When he gets his renewal, what the hell is this? Who's associates? Let's see your letterhead. We get killed in our business on the sale business of the $99. David Gazio and his other guys. $75, $99. They buy the MLS and mail the postcard out to be there. And the son will tell me, why are you charging them $600? I go, well, I should be $6,000, but the reason is that it's at least my hourly rate's $265. I put it's just a
that's a bargain.
Fee. Yeah, it's a nominal fee. But anyway, because these answers are out there, and what they don't put in there is if we get the title. So I've reported them.
That's the sales. Yeah, because they're going to make money on the sale.
But it needs to say if I get the title. You know what? I hope he doesn't get the title on one. Like I have one in Elk Over. They're buying 20 lots. They're going to put a meat packing plant. So they, in their contract, we will use Chicago title. You will make more money. So my guy said, I'll still let you have your $600 deed. You're still going to do a deed. You're still going to close it. But they take all of it because they want one master policy. for that end product. And I go, you know what? Keep it up, guys. It's good. You know, they're paying him $100,000 over crazy. So he's very happy. And but yeah, these these young guys, they it's a tear-off postcard. They sit there with Graham. I go, you know what? Go with the $90 guys. No secretary. I ain't fine.
Let me see.
$90.
What do you think you're going to get for $90?
Right.
I mean,
It's
think
more.
about it.
It's less than the termite inspection.
Think about it.
Think about it. Your car's hot. You go to jail.
Like, stop and think about it. What are you going to get for $90? Well, I'm going to get a lawyer. No, you're not.
Obviously not an expert.
You're not going to get legal fees.
Isn't that
They're all
crazy?
different things, but yeah.
What are you going to get? I have had she hung up. I just go, you know what? Knock yourself out. And then they'll call back. Oh, we're so sorry.
And that's another reason why I don't do closings anymore, because
Right.
I started charging more, and it's like,
And the brokers they hate it. They go, why are you so high? And then why are you getting handled with $36,000 the other day?
why?
She goes, why are you?
I
so
work
high?
for my money. Oh, we don't work for our money. But
We have all the liability.
they tell me that all. You know, well, I work for my money. Of course,
How many hours did it put you? How many hours did you put in on that 36?
I won't do it.
Mr. Expert.
And I'll tell you what, $250 an hour is a bargain. And I don't charge by the hours. I told you. But in my agreement, you know, what I cover myself, I charge $995 an hour.
In your hourly.
In my hourly rate, but I never do hourly.
Right. Well, there's guys that are super high corporate lawyers, and it's amazing, but they're here.
Oh, they get paid. They get paid.
2,000.
Yeah, 2,500.
Their brain is so fast that when you call about the guy trying to take Mr. Floor off from under you, they're going to go grab a pencil. And this is how these guys are. And they're going to have you write 3 things down. And that brilliance that they bring, because they've had so many shitstorms they've been involved in, they're worth every penny. Because they're going to narrow your problem. And they live well. They're partners that
But
pull
they
in.
should.
Yeah. They've had so many things they've seen that I would never. My buddy had somebody embezzle from him. And there's a guy, George Gilkerson, he was at Momkus and something out in DuPage. I sat in his office, just brought him in. Hi, George. He was the mayor of Glenelg at the time. My guy got a big problem embezzling. And he goes, here, we both have legal pads. David, you can have one. We're going to do this, this, this. He has no notes.
Just
1,
cutting right
2,
to the
3,
chase.
4, 5. Number 5 was send her a 1099 for $600,000. That was a beautiful thing. The girl was red-handed. She had 2 sets of She had 2 sets of QuickBooks, one to the guy's account and one for hers, because a good thief has to know where they steal from. She was creating false vendors. And so she had to keep track, like, and her uncle's stainless steel golf clubs at Disney World. Who buys golf clubs at Disney World? Anyway, she had her own zip drive over here, and then the accountant, poor guy, he was getting a fake set too. But anyway, this genius goes, send her a 1099. Boy, did that get her attention. Because it was stolen money.
That's taxable.
Yeah.
Totally taxable.
Yeah, but that was number 6. I would have never known to do that. My guy loves me now. But the bottom line is...
That's the $2,000 an hour guy.
But I met her a number of times because I would go to their company functions. She was this old English girl. I think he was like, well, he trusts, like she's too beautiful to steal or whatever. The guys who did the forensic...
There was that woman who stole in Illinois.
Dixon?
Yes.
Yeah,
the mayor of Dixon,
yeah. Well, she was the
controller.
Yeah.
And she had all the horses and all that.
And no one asked anything.
Because they thought they were making... She must be making a ton of money on horses. The horses cost all that money.
Right.
Everybody thought she's...
Nobody questioned it. What did she take, like 20, 30 million?
Yeah, it was a lot. And I can't believe somebody... They're born of should all been fired. They're born.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, come on. Who's reading the book? But this beautiful...
Down there? What's 20 million? That's huge.
They shoved half the budget. They were morons. They were just a bunch of,
Unless they were all in.
I don't know.
Which is kind of my...
No, because she was all in... They prosecuted her, and then all that money was going to these horses. And it was all... Because, again, everybody thought she was making money on these prize horses. But either you make a ton of money on horses or you lose your ass. And she lost her ass because she didn't know what she was doing. Yeah. It's like a restaurant. Right? Restaurants make a ton of money or you lose your ass. Right. It's kind of hard to do in the...
But this embezzle lady, she was...
No, that's not... It's got nothing like going to law school.
And I think that he was saying,
if you go to law school, you're guaranteed success.
No, that absolutely is not true. Absolutely not true.
But yeah, she had a lead.
And if it wasn't for my kids getting the free ride, I'd tell them... I'd still tell them. But that's, even if you don't want to be... When I went to law school, I did not want to be an attorney.
I'm sorry, did yours?
Both my kids.
Are they really?
Yeah. Yeah. My youngest is just starting in January. Jake's about halfway finished.
I thought it was more into the media.
He did that right out of. That's why he took a year off. He was supposed to go to law school and he started his own business. Find out how hard it is. Went to law school because it's hard to run your own business, as you know.
Well, you run your own business.
Well, I know it's hard, but he doesn't listen to me.
But then she has to see your.
You got to learn. You got to do it. It's like everything else, Joe. You know, people could tell you how to do things, but until you do it, you don't know. I remember when I bought my hot dog stand. I like to use that as an example because you think, what is it? I buy a hot dog stand and start a hot dog stand. No, you got to get a vendor's license. You got to get a plate. Where are you going to buy the hot dogs? What are you going to use? Where are you going to store them? Yeah, I've shown you my hot dog stand before. Yeah, that's what I'm using. But even just that, I mean, just push cart. You think I'm going to get a push cart? I'm going to sell hot dogs. How hard can that be? I did when I first got it. Now I give them away.
What do you mean? Like you were the guy standing on the fucking street?
I did it at where Portillo's is in Ontario. That's where I used to be.
No way.
Yes. My buddy owned the restaurant there. It was called the German American. And I was out in front of his place because the cops wouldn't let me go on the corner. I knew all the police. They were all friends of mine. But I had always. That's when I sold them. From 10. I was out there from 10 at night till 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I was the only one out there. So if you bought a hot dog downtown, it was me. Yeah. I was down there for several years, 4 or 5 years, when I was in law school. I actually when I went to right before law school. So then my friend leased his restaurant to somebody else and closed it.
3.5 minutes.
Friday and Saturday night. That's the only time I was out there. First, they kept me out of the tavern. Didn't stop me from drinking because I would drink out in front. Nah, back then this was 92, 93. It's probably doing $600 a night. That was good. Kept me out of the tavern. Still drank, but again, then I would buy the beer and sit outside. My buddy owned the tavern, and then I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I got some stories, Mister. Being out there on the street with all the homeless guys, all the gold. Remember that was the gold chain guys out there selling gold chains all the time.
Speaker guys too.
He said it's probably so nonchalant.
Gold chain.
The chains. The speakers weren't at night though, because they weren't. Those are guys in the van. But so I didn't see them. But the guys would walk around. I knew all the guys selling the fake gold. They made a ton of money. Well, they ran them out. They started arresting them because they were fraud. Yeah, it was fraud. At first, they got a license and they could sell stuff, but then it turned out they're lying to people. They're defrauding people. So they stopped them. But at the time, they were everywhere. And then you get the homeless guys. Yeah, they were. And then the homeless guys, and I would never give them hot dogs, but I would sell it to them for 50 cents, something like that. They had to pay for something, but then I give them a good price and then tell them stay away from me, and they would stay away from me and not bother the people around me. And remember Stop and Drink. The bar right there on Clark Street. It used to be the black homosexual bar. Yeah, and
I didn't even know you had black homosexuals.
Juicy Smollett.
Oh yeah.
Not anymore. But anyway, so I have some good. Here's my favorite story about you guys. About 4 o'clock in the morning, and these 4 gay guys, black gay guys, are coming, and they went, "Hey, we buy a hot dog." So I saw a hot dog.
Here we go.
The guy says, "I'll suck your dick for a hot dog." And I looked at him. I said, "I need something for at least $2."
Here we go.
And his friends thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard.
312-981-7200, $7,200. Mega Pro
I'm convinced this show is better on Vinegar.
I agree with that.
All right, that's great. 312-981-7200.
Not that it's not great anyway, Joe.
What?
Dave.
No, but I'm saying we have more engaged, enlightening conversation on Brit than we do on the regular.
I'm sure John and Joliet is happy to hear that. John, how are you? What? I'm great, buddy. You got a question? Yes. Yes. Is your home paid for? You should always have a line of credit on your home, and that's why we refer everybody to BMO Harris. Because a line of credit, we get these situations all the time. Listeners call, hey, I own my home free and clear, and I want to buy another home, and for some reason, their ratios, because they have too much data, they don't make enough money, they can't carry both properties, they're not showing enough money. In your situation, I would always recommend to get a line of credit. We send everybody over to BMO Harris, and we can hook you up with those guys. They're great to tap the liquidity into your home, the equity in your home, to use for a number of different reasons. Some of our listeners use it to put a little perfume on the pig, if you will, before you sell it, right? You might need to do some minor repairs. Call in Joe for handyman for the day for $750 to do a bunch of different projects around the home. So
It's not really big.
that's a great idea.
A bargain.
And also use that money for the down payment. Or I've recommended to some listeners just use the money from the line of credit to pay for the new home in cash. And when you sell your old home, you don't have any more. You don't have a mortgage. The mortgage is paid off. So, Dave, you want to add to that?
No, I agree with it. And you only pay for what you use, sir. So if you get Harris gives you a $300,000 line, and you only want to do $200 on the new house and maybe finance the rest, you pay interest only on only the amount you use. You don't pay interest on the fully available credit.
Does that make sense, bud? All right, we're going to get you in touch with. What's that? Sure. Yeah, you're allowed to. Uh-oh.
Yes,
Dave?
yeah, it's a big problem because they're gonna first of all they're gonna find it possibly on your home inspection anyway. But yes, you are saying under the Illinois Disclosure Act that you have not been made aware of a material problem. You don't have to talk about broken windows or a garage door opener that's squeaky. But yes, something like a foundation problem, I would go ahead and have them call Permaseal, right?
1-800-421-SEAL.
Well, to get clarity on what's wrong.
To see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll get a free estimate, and they'll tell you if you do have a foundation challenge, and if you do, they'll give you an estimate on how to correct that challenge. Because now that you know you have a challenge, you have to disclose it on the
Right. And that would definitely qualify because it's one of the 23 questions. And again, and if Permaseal, if Roy's staff gives you a clean bill of health, you hang on to that, and then you can show that to your buyer if their inspector brings it up.
All right, hang on, Johnny. We're going to send you a Mr. Floor cleaning try to your choice. Before we hit the break here, Mr. Floor, 847, good morning and happy birthday, Dave. Me, because it's my birthday tomorrow, in case you haven't heard.
You're that guy. Christmas ain't gone. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
I'm not going to say.
Go ahead, Steve.
I was going to say I know another Jewish guy with his birthday tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
I know. I said that.
He's a linguist specialist.
Or as Archie Bunker said, he was only Jewish on his mom's side.
Now that's terrific.
312-981-7200. This is over to you, Igor.
Yeah.
Is there a way to cover burn holes on a linoleum floor, or is replacing it the only option? Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way to eliminate burn holes. Joe,
Yeah,
I'm sure
there
you've
is.
done it.
No, there's a big best way.
Yeah, that's right.
Get rid of your drunk smoker friend.
Yeah.
So if you have a drunk smoker friend, he's going to burn your couch. He's going to burn your linoleum.
How come you can't be a female drunk smoker? Why are you just being...
Oh, because
guys are more apt to be drunk and burn holes in linoleum floors.
Yeah.
Okay. Igor, back to you.
So, aside from Joe, what he's talking about here, I think...
Which we have no idea.
To address the caller's question, there is no way to just sort of cover it. You have to either have more linoleum and then you can cut a little patch out and repatch it, but then that doesn't look great. The best option really is to just replace that floor.
All right,
It's going to happen again if you keep those friends. I'm telling you right now.
We have a special mystery caller calling in after the break, so you'll have to wait 2.5 minutes to find out who it is. 312-981-7200. Big fan of the show, friend of the show. 312-981-7200. You listen. That's the MegaPros call, text, and photo line. This is Home Film Chicago on AM 720 WGN.
I'm going to guess who it is.
What?
I'm going to guess who it is.
Who?
John Williams.
Is it
No.
Santa?
No.
Santa.
Great call. Great guesses, though. You guys both said it.
John Williams, yeah, he was really.
It's his show, so this is his time, isn't
You
it?
should say that. Is it John Williams? I'm like, hey, crazy doesn't listen.
He has called, obviously. And isn't this his time slot? So I guess it would make sense to have the day off and listen to the
No, aren't we
show.
in Surratt's slot?
Oh, that's early,
No,
though.
this is
He's in the morning.
this is Williams.
Oh, because you mentioned his timer. You're right.
Oh, don't forget Wednesday.
You know, on my show at the, that we record, I have taken the position we never talk in between segments anymore because all the good stuff is in between. So I want to get it on the radio, so I don't talk to. So now my producer.
We don't talk to Steve.
Steve, please exit the room.
No, he can sit there. He doesn't.
You're saying like when you take a trap, you can't do that.
Yeah, because you think you could talk. Let's talk about that on the air. It's too late. It's already out. You can't. Once I ask and we talk about it, you can't really talk about it
You
again.
can't rebottle the genius.
It's a level of excitement.
It's like
Yeah.
it's
So
like you shot your.
Well, I don't know if Igor heard this one. When David first did the Facebook at WLS, my wife texted me that the sound wasn't turned off.
That just happened
during our
today.
breaks. And I called the guy an idiot. I go, what an idiot. And we're on the break, And she goes, Dave, you just came on Facebook. What
No,
an idiot.
Joe had one. He's like, "What the f is Penny Mustard getting free commercials for?" him?"
Yeah.
What the fuck is Penny Mustard doing on our
That's exactly what he said on the Facebook feed. Like, all right, here we go.
Here we go.
Here goes the Penny Mustard.
My wife was,
sponsorship.
she goes, Dave, you called that Chinese guy an idiot. I go, well, he was. But yeah, but we heard it all. I heard it on my iPad. It was awesome.
Turn the iPad off, sweetheart.
Yeah. Well, you
Stop
actually
listening
found
to the
out
show.
that was that one in the corner. You used
Here we
to
go.
stand up.
Yeah, we should have.
20 seconds.
We should address this lady.
Here we go.
Hey,
Here we go.
6649.
fight back now!
Right back now.
I thought I'd do it live for you.
Hey, Steve, that.
There we go.
Steve, that is good.
312-981-7200. 312-981-7200. Steve, we would like a live.
Fight back now!
Okay.
Right back now. Steve, I like it.
What? Who's your guest on our mystery line?
My guess?
Yeah.
John Williams.
Why would John Williams waste his time listening to this show?
It's his time slot.
It's his time, but he's off today.
I know, but he's got to protect it. And,
No, he doesn't.
I guess you wouldn't be here.
That was already decided.
He has nothing
I guess
to worry about.
that's true.
Yeah.
No, that's true too. That's true too. And he's already given it up to David, so he's not that concerned about it.
Actually, he's embarrassed right now.
I'm borrowing his time. Okay.
So it's not John Williams.
Not John Williams.
Okay, well that was my
Brendan,
guess.
our production assistant here, our head of production.
I would have never guessed that.
Said Santa. No, it's not Santa. It's better than Santa. Who is on line one? How are you, mystery caller? How are you? By me is fine. So this is a gentleman who used to work here at WGN and would go on Facebook and post pictures of his bread. Joe, you know who he is.
I do.
All of his.
How are you doing, Roger?
This is Roger.
He's my favorite.
This is, of course, Roger Badish, recently retired Roger Badish. And Roger would go on a bunch of different shows and say, this is my last show on WGN, my last appearance, this is my swan, I'm out, I'm flying, I'll never be heard. I'm like, I got something special for him. I'm going to bring him on. I didn't tell him this until last night. I'm like, hey, call in. So this is officially Roger Badish's last appearance. I get to be his last. Okay, we get to be his last. So you've been a big fan of the show since day one, since we started here.
You're assuming that.
No,
Is he really? Oh, you're thinking of Manfred Dean. That's not us. Yeah, you've got the wrong show, Roger. Yeah. No, he's on earlier than us. And he has good information.
So Roger moved out of his rental that he lived in forever with his beautiful wife, and he went and decided to buy a home later on in life. So he went very later on in life, like a year before he was going to retire. He got this crazy notion after listening to Lou Manfredini's show that buying a home would be a great idea and a good investment. And he called us. We ran credit. We got him approved. We did all the stuff. Hooked him up with Amy Kite. Amy Kite's realtor's team, realtor Amy Kite's team helped Roger locate a home and buy a home. We got some questions about flooring. He called him Mr. Floor. He had some questions about maintenance. He called you, Joe. And I just wanted to call Roger as a former co-worker here at WGN to thank him for his loyalty, his business, and for all the support. Because whenever I'd run into Roger here at the station, he'd be like, "Hey, show sounds great. Hey, might want to try this," and give me tips along the way, if you will, to make it sound better or less bad. And exactly.
Still as goofy as heck. And thank God for that. What did you say? What is it? Oh, for other nice service benefits. All right. And Roger, you're good enough. You want to go out to lunch with? I get to go out to lunch with you. I'm thinking next summer we do Erie Cafe. What do you think, Dave?
Erie Street Cafe. That's Joe's home away from home.
No.
Of course, it's the other way to go. Smaller ones are for wimps. You go with the dinner, Frank. So Steve's like falling apart. Oh my God.
That's just false. I don't know if you know this, Roger, but I am a dog man. So I like to tend to ones myself.
No, he's not. No. Roger, only experts are invited to your house. And he's an expert. Him and Sluter are out because they're clearly not an expert. Igor could come.
I'm there.
These two, no, we're not experts.
I'll bring the potato salad.
So we just wanted to call to thank you for your loyalty, your hard work here at WGN, for being a bud. Big words. Hey, could you cut this for me so I can send it to anyone else on the show? Please. Nice. Well, thank you too. Thank you.
Good radio.
He's great. I mean, if this retirement thing doesn't work out, he should think about a career, another career in radio.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, we just lost 3 more of our 9 listeners.
This is my professional advice. I don't have
Negative listen.
Yeah, we're down to like 3. For the love of God, I've been trying to hang out with dear life here for another 35 minutes. All right, we got to hit a break. Roger, you're awesome. I want to tell you this. From the bottom of my heart, your wife is more awesome than you. And she's a saint. For the love of God, having to deal with you for all these years. I don't know how she made it. Yes. Because I like her a lot more than I like you. Truth be told. It'd be nice to drop off some olive bread every once in a while. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Well, you're awesome. Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your new house, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Roger. You too, my brother.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, brother. Bye-bye. Oh, I'm sorry. Cut him off. We got to hit a break because Ashley's like, get the break. 312-981-7200. We got to hit a quick break here. I'm supposed to say happy birthday to Jim on Facebook. Capricorns rule. Okay. I'm just making 312-981-7200. We got a ton of text messages in here. And then we have a
I like this music too.
Singing.
That was David.
All the dogs,
obviously.
All the dogs are running underneath their bed. Turn it off. 312-981-7200 is Megapole's call, text, and photo line. I thought you would enjoy that show. Yes, you're a big fan of Roger.
I am. Yeah,
He's a
what a
good guy.
great guy.
Good guy. Big loss for the station, but he's enjoying his retirement. Hard work right here and there. 312-981-7200, 312-981-7200 to Megapole's call, text, and photo line. You are listening to Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720. WGN, we're going to throw it over to traffic and news after these messages. All right, so we got one,
Burnhole question.
I have a text message too I want to read.
That burnhole question from Anita.
Okay.
Thank you for answering my question about the burnholes. He isn't a drunk. He falls asleep on the toilet. He falls asleep on the toilet. Not sure which is worse. I was like, I responded with, LOL, we think we know.
No, just give me the
I think you're drunk if you fall asleep on the toilet.
I'm just gonna.
That's what I was going to say. One is not exclusive.
And you're smoking in your bathroom.
Third
So
is just
What is this, the 70s?
What?
The 70s.
the 70s you were smoking in the bathroom.
Yeah, everybody smoked everywhere.
Yeah.
Smoked in the elevator. Your doctor would come in with the smoke. Hey, I gotta tell you something.
Airplane.
You smoke on an airplane.
Smoke on TV.
You smoke everywhere. Everybody smoked.
Carson would smoke.
Everybody smoked.
Oh,
Wherever we
yeah,
are.
right.
Yeah, right in the ashtray, right there.
any chance you could talk. I'm saving this for the year.
What is that?
Yep. 12:05. 12:17. 11:17.
Baby girl, I'm still on the radio. Another half hour.
I live in Illinois, buying a home in cash for cash in Florida. I want to get an attorney for my closing to make sure the paperwork is correct. Can I close in Illinois and use an attorney here? Or do I need to close in Florida and close with an attorney there?
Florida.
Unless you're licensed there, you can't give advice on that.
This is great. I'm going to save that one. 11:21, Joe. You can read that. That's a good one.
In Tennessee, you have to have not because of COVID, you don't have to, but usually you have to do at least a half year CLE in person, and they have 15 hours a year.
Some guys buy a disc.
Yeah,
Hey, Brendan,
well, I do the
Joe's mic.
actually I do
read
the
that?
CLE. I'm on the faculty
Yeah, me too.
of one of them.
Yeah, I'm on the Vinegar. It's great.
Well,
I get 5 hours for every one.
Yeah, so and they pay me. And,
Well, these get done.
yeah, they give me a couple $100. It's not a big deal. But I get that. But and I was seeing it. Can I use that down in Tennessee? And they say yes, they can. So I can. But so that means I got to go down there once a year to get CLE.
Tomorrow.
But then it's a.
Where is the Bar Association, Nashville?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Well, I believe it's in Nashville, but it obviously doesn't matter where you go. going.
It just gets my heart.
So I go, now I have the district court I just got sworn into was the middle district. Oh, it's a kind of a long story, and I won't get into that. But let me just tell you, I had to be introduced to the judge in person to get my license into the district court. Very friendly judge. And the guy that I've got to introduce me, guy I never met before, turned out to be a big wig down there, and I didn't know that. He's.
Can you imagine the light down there and where you are at Judge? See, I mean, you're going at 2 o'clock, and no one talks back to you. You run the show.
They took out a big ledger. They took a big ledger book out, and I signed a ledger book.
You're the man when you're judge down there. Nobody bothers you. You make a good living. Money goes along.
A district judge is the man anywhere he is. It's like a fiefdom. It's like you're not the king, but you're like the earl or the
You probably pay for any meals. Hey, Judge, have a seat.
I got into that.
We went to Crossville down there.
Person's name,
Climbing my biography, and she couldn't use her 3-bedroom.
especially when this 40-year-old younger woman
It's in the
is beating
center of the
my ass.
state. Crossville golf capital.
Right.
My kids will go back tomorrow. It was the first time we ever had charter.
American Airlines cancels
because the grill was an old cast iron. Dad, can you do that? I came in and bought a whatever. Because they would go
They
crazy.
loved it.
They had mini golf. They had one of those pontoon boats. 3 bedrooms. They all got their own.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I got it for free.
I went to. We did go to Gatlinburg last year. Very nice. Dolly World right outside. It's very Wisconsin Dells-ish.
When your kids were little, did you ever make it to Ruby Falls? That was outside of Chattanooga.
Have not.
There's a mountain, right? And some dude crawled in there like in 1910, and he heard noise. And he got back, got his lantern. It's an internal cave, 150 feet high in the mountain, and it's a waterfall. Inside the mountain.
Really?
So you go in now, you can crawl. Now you go in, it's all carpet. And they go 1, 2, 3, and you open your eyes, and they have 100 floodlights. And it's an interior waterfall.
Really?
In a mountain.
Did not know. I never even heard of it.
Falls. There's billboards for it.
Never even heard of it.
That's $20 you'll ever spend.
Have to go
On one of your trips, sneak down there. By Chattanooga.
So I like Eastern is nice. Middletown. I love Nashville. Love Nashville.
Yeah, Knoxville.
I told him.
Okay. Memphis, I can live it out.
I've only driven through.
Yeah, Memphis is kind of
What you said.
It's not anything.
it's low life. Although I had some of the best barbecue I ever had there in Memphis. Yeah.
What is
Right
your
across the
style?
street.
Is it like vinegary or what is it?
No, it was more what I like, which is the Kansas City style. It was right across the street from the hotel where what's his name was killed. MLK was.
Yeah, on my birthday.
Yeah.
April 4th.
Is that right? So that's
JFK and my brother's birthday.
that's coincidence. But right across the street from there, that's where the place was.
What a terrible day. I was about 6 years old. I was so sad.
I grew up on the west side of Chicago. That's where the riots started in Chicago. I lived on Chicago Avenue in Laurel.
Okay, well, I worked at Leamington Foods at Leamington in Chicago for 4 years.
So the Austin High School is where the riots started.
That's now a church. It's called the Circle Urban Ministries. They've redone the whole auditorium. You'd probably faint if you went in there. They use it for plays.
5-star.
They have a legal clinic, food clinic, health clinic. And they're all the board of directors are all good guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, they redid the high school auditorium. They did a play theater. And
Otherwise,
they got the building for nothing. I mean, it was all run down. So that's who you're
Like everything else in
Austin.
Austin. No. I moved way before that. 1972.
I know the area though.
We moved out in 1972, 1973, something like that. I was born in 1962.
that's a good idea for his business.
100%. Dave, I got an HOA question here.
Yep.
Here we go.
And a beautiful stuff.
312-981-7200, 312-981-7200 to Micropose. Call, text, and photo line. All right, I got a guy on the line here. We're going to call it, but I want to get to some of these text questions. So 708 Igor, building a home in the North Woods. Hang on. Hang tight there, Liam from Chicago. I promise to get to you. In-floor hydronic heating. Yeah. Is engineered wood floor the only option? Any natural wood floor options? Go. Well, explain what a hydroponic
Hydronic?
We've only got a half an hour left.
Would you relax?
I'll cut to the chase. So the hydronic floor is basically an in-floor radiant heat system that pumps hot water through tubes that basically act like a horizontal radiator. So for all of us that lived in older homes, we use regular. So this is the horizontal version that you pump hot water through it, and it heats the home. Engineered floors, in my opinion, are the only option because if you install a solid wood floor over any kind of a hydronic system, whether it's electric or water, will basically cause that floor to overcontract in the wintertime because you're going to create an imbalance. You can actually heat the floor from below. It's going to make it too hot. The ambient air temperature on top will be a different temperature, and it's going to cause the floor to start to move. So engineered floors being dimensionally much more stable due to the format of having multiple plies inside the core of an engineered floor will do a very good job canceling out a lot of that movement. And so for any kind of radiant heat system, we always recommend engineered floor.
630. Lemon oil soaked. This is our interior design.
It's the same. Yep.
It's the same person, same listener. Lemon oil soaks into wood and moisturizes it. Pledge will cause a buildup that is not good for the wood finish. Can get lemon oil at any hardware store. Recommended by fine wood furniture manufacturers. Take that.
I take back what I said about interior designers not being an expert. This interior designer looks like an expert.
All right.
Sounds like an expert.
But here, so if you say lemon oil soaked into wood, meaning how serious does it really get to the wood?
It does. It does. And what she's saying, what the designer is.
Oh, you're right. I'm
definitely.
See,
I don't need
This
any
designer is
more.
definitely an expert. The commentary is absolutely correct. Pledge does have a tendency to sit on the surface, and every subsequent use of pledge only builds up on the surface. Products like lemon oil will definitely get absorbed, even if it's a coated surface. The furniture will absorb it,
so
and it'll do a better job.
And Joe, they don't want to get stung by the beeswax. I mean, that's
two drink minimum. 949. Stephen A. Leahy, this is for you. Any chance you could talk deli food? Love when you enlighten us with your restaurant knowledge. On that, you are all experts.
It's true that I am the hot dog guy and deli. I'm not a deli guy because I never sold deli. I just eat it. I'm working to get in the hot dog. I have been nominated. Let's put it that way. And that's the truth. I have been nominated for the Hot Dog Hall of Fame from Vienna beef. Well,
next message at 11:21, Joe. Do you want to share that with all of our listeners? It's a great one from the 224 about.
Right here. This is for you, Igor, lemon oil person.
Yeah.
My cuticles are dry and cracked. Should I use lemon oil or pledge?
I don't think you should use it either. Look at cuticle. I don't know.
You know what a cuticle is?
Yeah. I have no.
Wow, you're too serious.
3129.
I have the
I thought
text.
it was a serious question.
Look at everything's serious with Igor.
Stephen A. Leahy, you want to touch that?
Here's a
Okay.
Here's a text that I received.
A text message.
Tell Dave, that would be you, David.
Dave Schluter or Dave Hockberg?
David Hockberg.
Okay.
Tell David he is extra special because Christmas Day and New Year's Day has the least amount of birthdays.
There you go. Your wife sent me that same text.
Oh, did she?
Tell her to stop texting me during the show. For the love of
What
God.
is it? What?
Go ahead, say it again.
The least number of birthdays are on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So
I have to do the math back.
I want everybody. I'm the only December birthday. This is more worthless information. I'm the only December birthday here at WGN Radio. And Marlene Wells, because of my soda weight loss, did not get any type of cake or cupcakes like they typically do for the birthday because.
So you cheated everybody.
She respected. And I thanked her for it. So thank you, Marlene Wells.
You cheated everybody else here that they didn't get it either.
I didn't cheat anybody. I'm benefiting. I'll be here long.
My mother is also a Capricorn. She's her December 31st is her birthday, so New Year's Eve.
312-917-200630. Hi, I live in Illinois, Dave Schluter, buying a home for cash in Florida. I want to get an attorney for the closing to make sure all the paperwork is correct. Smart move. Can I close in Illinois and use an attorney here or do I have to close in Florida and close with an attorney there? Sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing. And do you, Stephen, provide a service to do this if it can be done here? That would be David. Dave is the real estate.
Unfortunately, Illinois attorneys cannot practice outside of where they're licensed, and so even reviewing a contract, reviewing the title, reviewing documents would be inappropriate. And really, it's for everybody's best interest. If I happen to do that, if I was willing to break the rule, and you had a problem, it would not be good because you would not have an insured situation there. So you can ask your broker down there to find an attorney for you in the locale. Don't let them talk you out of counsel because the title company in Florida is not giving you legal advice. You will sign something saying that. And I do have a friend who's licensed in Florida. If you want to call me next week, I can definitely get you in there.
Joe?
Now I get why you lawyers as a not expert. Because you're always practicing.
Oh, Dave could have said that joke.
That was the best one out of the bunch.
Liam in Chicago.
That was a good one.
I understand. Liam in Chicago.
It's an art, not a science.
How are you, Liam? Good, buddy. You got a question about a homeowners association, Stephen and David?
Yeah, traditionally, homes that have a prohibition of renters, it's usually a history of either something that went bad with a prior tenant or just when they developed it. How many units total are in the association?
Sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're a little short on time, but unfortunately, just because they missed one, it doesn't change the rule. What you can do is check your condo declaration about what percentage is needed to amend your declaration. Your closing may have to be delayed, but if it's like 2/3 or something, you're probably not going anywhere. Most people like to keep it the way. And your guy who's buying it, I don't think anybody's listening from the association. Your guy's buying it really with this 3 to 5 years business. They're really doing it as an investor. They really don't have a hardship.
Right. And that's where, and the reason is owner occupants take care of their properties better as a history than renters. Yeah, that's why condo associations limit the amount of renters or renters at all.
Right.
The percentage of renters, or if they allow it at all.
But those small ones especially have, everybody knows everybody's business, and you probably aren't going to prevail. But the bottom line is you asked for our read on it. My initial take is it's not the kind of circumstance that it meets your present rate.
And if they just recently instituted that rule, then overturning that rule is probably impossible.
Right. So you might have to find another buyer, buddy.
All right, this is Home Sweet Home Chicago. That was David Sluder and Stephen Leahy chiming in, as he always does. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720. WGN. He's an expert at chiming in. But he's an attorney.
Very good distinction.
He's an expert in
He's an expert at chiming in and selling hot dogs. Other than that, he's nothing. 312-981-7200. Mega Pros, call, text, and phone line. This is Home Sweet Home Chicago on AM 720. WGN.
Here's something you don't know, David, that I just told Dave. There just came a case out in Illinois that now homeowners associations can bring property tax appeals for all of the people in the homeowners association.
Not just condos.
All right, hang on 1 second. We got 3 minutes, 47. So we got 8 minutes coming back.
Yeah, you can always do it with condo, but now you can do it with homeowners associations.
They can file one lawyer.
I got it right here. Coxie.
Yeah.
Right there. Let's get legal with John Hanson.
My name doesn't have any.
John Hanson. I didn't even remember that.
I wrote it down.
Just in case you think it's any of these other ones.
Look at this, jerk off, right there. Okay?
How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Did Kerry Peck sign up for you guys?
Yeah.
Did Kerry Peck sign up with you guys as part? I know he's got a sponsorship on other things.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
never
out
mind.
of the loop on that.
9:01. I wrote this down. The first thing I said to Ash, you could verify it.
Right.
They said, "What's John Show's name so he doesn't bust my ball?"
So you're telling me until 3 hours ago you still didn't know the name
No,
of the
at
show?
9:01. Right.
Okay.
No, I did. I just couldn't remember it. But yes.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But thank you for the note.
No,
You got 3 hours too. That's good.
He's talking legal without you.
I've been on the show.
Well, it's called Let's Get Legal. It's
I
a
can
show
leave
by
you
the
there.
Illinois State Bar Association that buys time here, and they get 4 or 5 people a month to come in.
Actually, don't buy time.
Yeah, it's a new thing they're doing right midday, and
They don't. The bar association doesn't sponsor it. They are powered by. So that means that they provide some of the lawyers.
yeah.
Really.
But I guess it's working out for people.
I've been on. Have you been on?
No, I haven't been asked.
Have you paid?
I've been on a couple of times.
Have you paid to be on?
I have not, but they're trying to sell it to me.
Right.
You know.
I don't think it's gonna. Lawyers tend to be rather. I have enough spent here.
The last time I was.
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they want people to pay.
I
I know, but ask them.
I
I'll
agree.
knock them out of the car.
He's right. No, he's right. I was on with John Hanson when they had the fireworks right here. So I'm on the show, the fireworks are going off right here over on the river.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We literally have about. So I'll just give everybody 2 minutes to pitch what you want to pitch. Okay?
Okay.
Because I don't have anything else.
I'll mention this. What I was just talking about. What
Hey, what about the
you
baseball bat?
ignored me.
I need the fucking baseball bat.
Baseball player.
You
Old Hickory, they used to call.
Was it Hickory?
Well, they used to call it Old Hickory. Louisville Slugger. You can look up.
Okay, let's come back with that.
All right. Yeah, let's do the baseball bat. Fucking Igor's on the radio.
you weren't listening to me when I was talking,
Yeah, I'm
David.
looking at it, but it's
Maybe.
not on
And it really I said I had some new information for you, but you didn't listen.
About what?
About homeowners associations.
What is it?
That now homeowners associations can
Here we
bring.
go. 312-981-7200. The interior designer, Joe, sent another text. I'm not a cuticle one, although I am not an expert on cuticle. I do know that Burt's Bees makes an excellent cuticle treatment just to
Holy
bring
smokes.
everything in full circle.
She's not so happy.
He or she.
I'll bet you $100.
630. Please let us know your gender. 312-980-7200. 312-981-7200. Don't call 980. 312-981-7200. Microphone's calling, texting. Igor, what are baseball bats made of, and what did they used to be made of, and why did they switch back?
All right, so I don't know if there are any baseball fanatics out here, listening, but baseball bats traditionally, and most baseball bats today are made out of ash. And it's interesting because I believe it was in the mid 2000s, maybe 2007, 2008, there was an attempt to switch Major League Baseball bats from ash to maple. And the thought process there was, well, maple is harder than ash, so why not use maple? Well, although maple is harder than ash, it turns out, and we know this in the flooring industry and the lumber industry, is that maple, although being hard, is very brittle. So when you take a swing at 100-mile-an-hour, fastball coming at you, that bat is going to explode, which is exactly what they were doing. And you see all these shattered bats all over the place. And the majority of those bats that shattered and exploded were made out of maple. So then the trend went right back to ash, which again, if I asked anybody in our industry, and we would
Why
tell
do
them,
that?
Exactly. We would tell them absolutely stay with ash. Ash is hard and not good. And so there's your trivia.
312-981-7200.
I feel smarter.
312-981-7200. Microprose Joe 847. Do you know of any builders? Do you know any builders of zero energy or passive homes in the Chicago metro area? Larry from Wheeling.
No.
What is that? Is that like what I have with the geothermal? Is that what they're talking about?
Not I shouldn't say that. There are good energy builders. Even your Silverthorne guy.
Yeah.
So he's really focusing on sustainability and all that stuff.
Jimmy Delaney?
Yeah, but once you get into the celebrity world of it, where they're pushing their product because of it, it's really not.
We got a Facebook post from the lady about the linoleum floor. So it's not drunk. My husband falls asleep smoking on the toilet.
Okay. Now, chances are really good there's alcohol involved.
I'm not saying, but you're probably...
But don't even smoke in your house. This is 19... No, it's not.
That's good, Joe.
This is almost 2022.
You sure?
That's it. We don't do that where I'm at. Where are you at? 2021.
Well, here, just hold on.
I see what
so
you did
either
there.
get a ceramic floor,
right,
or smoke in the bed,
or build an outhouse.
Hospital bed.
Yeah.
What is that?
I'm just saying he's on the way out.
Don't ask. Oh my
God.
God! Merry Christmas.
The guy's
Do I get 2
passing
minutes
out,
still?
Passing out, burning the floors. It's a disaster.
Happy holidays from the law offices of David Schluter.
I'm saying you can fix that problem many ways.
They could also just switch from cigarettes to vapes.
No, I don't recommend that.
I'm just saying. I'm not.
I don't recommend that.
But at least there's no element of fire.
I got the solution. You just stand up when you go to the bathroom. 312-981-7200. No other comment. 312-981-7200. Dave, we got a couple minutes left. What nugget of knowledge would you like to leave our listeners during this knowledge? Nugget of knowledge.
Yes, thank you for, again, and happy birthday tomorrow. What I'm going to say is this. This still is very low inventory, so if you're a buyer, don't get too greedy. You may never get your offer accepted. You're going to maybe have to overpay, but also don't ahead of time, and David Hopper would agree, to pay any difference on a short appraisal. That's very scary. We're seeing that about 1 out of 20 deals now, where the buyer's being asked to eat the first $10,000 or $15,000 in any short appraisal. Appraisers are generally aware of what places are worth, and so just don't fall for that as your first option. If it's the only house of your dreams, consider it, but don't let your agent talk you into that just so they can get a fast purchase.
If our listeners want to reach out to you, how do they reach out to you, Mr. Schluter?
Dave at SchluterLawOffice.com, 630-285-5300, 36 years of helping people.
Hot dog expert, fashion consultant expert, but not a legal expert. Stephen A. Leahy, what type of...
I wanted to talk about, just mention, Illinois neighborhood associations can appeal property tax bills now. This is big. There's a big difference. So if you have an association, used to be only condos, or this is a new opinion came out in Lake County. So if you have a homeowners association, everybody in the homeowners association can appeal their property taxes together. It makes a big difference.
If our listeners want to reach out to you, how do they reach out to
WGNtaxman.com or call me at 312-664-6649.
Excuse me, do you handle
property taxes?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
I have to give a special shout out to a good friend of mine, Dan Ahern, who runs all of the maintenance over at the United Center. Because I got a bucket list check off this year, cause of Dan. And when I found out what he did, he said, I handle all the maintenance, everything that moves at the United Center. I go, even the Indian head? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so you paint the Indian head? He's like, yeah, me and my team. I'm like, the next time you paint the Indian head, can I get an invitation? He's like, if you don't screw up my loan, absolutely. So guess what?
You didn't screw up the loan.
Nothing happened with that loan. I get a call earlier this year on a Thursday. Hey, Dave, it's Dan. We're painting at 11. Where are you? I'm like, I'm downtown. He said, can you be here? I'm like, yes. So I got to do what I always wanted to do. I got to paint the Indian head thanks to my good friend Dan Ahern down to the United States.
Get a picture?
I didn't screw it up. They only gave me big areas that even nobody could screw that up.
Okay.
And they said, don't worry about it because we spray over it and we go over it and paint all your mistakes.
So you just use regular paint on
Regular paint with a big brush, and it freezes right away, it dries right away.
And let them know the number one thing you're impressed with, that the first coat is painted white.
Yes.
The whole place
Everything's
gets
painted right.
When that's ice, you think, how does it do that? Why isn't it blue? They actually paint the entire rink every year white.
No,
wait.
an amazing
Under the
experience.
water. Yeah.
Amazing experience. So thank you, Dan, and thank you for your crew out there for welcoming me. Joe, what do you want to leave on this?
I just want to tell you how happy I am to be here with you on a Friday morning. I wonder if those listeners appreciate how unusual this is.
I know I do.
I don't know.
Sure you?
It was pretty early to get up and run into David at 7 a.m.
Oh my God!
I don't think
Steven-
people are
Steven-
falling off the Kennedy right
Steven had to get up early on a weekday to go to work
On a Friday.
on a Friday to come downtown to do a radio
Warriors
show.
don't get up early.
Well,
I guess not.
Fridays I usually do my own radio show, and
Because
so
he's a sleep expert on Thursday.
my own radio show, and so I generally don't go into the office on. Now that I live across the street from my office,
my
so I
God.
go to the office.
Igor, if our listeners want to reach out to you guys, how do they reach out to you?
Yeah, give us a call directly at 847-674-7500. Visit us online at MrFlora.com. And David, I just want to remind everybody so that they don't have an emergency situation like the caller earlier to maintain their floors correctly. Visit us online at MrFlora.com. Use the promo code WGN. We have a nice lineup of cleaning products there, including a deep cleaning kit, which will be absolutely perfect for the holidays.
Mega Pros, Joe, Mega Pros Home Improvement. If you want to reach Mega Pros,
Make sure your hoses are just going to be clean.
yes, sir.
Happy birthday, David.
Thank you very much. Coming up next, let's get legal with John Hanson, and there's no H in John's first name.
He's a professional.
I knew that.
And he came in, and I asked at 9 o'clock the proper name, and he came in with a cheat sheet to make sure he didn't screw it up. This has been Home Sweet Home Chicago.
I've been on that program.
I'm happy. We have to leave, so stop talking. This has been Home Sweet Home Chicago. We'll be back next Saturday, next Friday, New Year's Eve. Merry Christmas,
And
everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Have a great day tomorrow with your friends, family, coworkers, and neighbors. Thanks for listening. Tune in next Friday, same time, same bad time, same bad station. Merry Christmas.
They had that.
I did.
That decorator lady, she's definitely.
If you did, Joe,
Did she identify, or did he identify himself?
No.
You're convinced it's a woman.
I'm going to go with a woman.
I don't know.
Well, if it's not a woman,
we're going to find out right now.
What, you send a picture?
No, I'm going to call.
Dave, keep up the good work on the weight. I know how tough it is.
I really gonna call.
Who said that?
Everyone can go run to the show.
Who said happy birthday?
Happy birthday, David.
Who said that?
Not me. Run. Not me. I got to run to the other show.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Kevin.
Merry Christmas to you.
Dave,
Kevin
keep up the
McDonough?
good work with the weight. I know how hard it is.
Kevin McDonough?
All right. Woo, sorry. We're good.
Thank you, boys.
Oh, thank you,
Happy
David.
birthday, Dave.
Oh, love you. See ya.
Peace. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All the best. See you around.
All right, David, I love you. I'll see you.
Yeah, goodbye. See you, brother.
Merry Christmas. Happy everything. Come on. You rock.
That's the buddy.
Yeah, we get to go.
Thank you. You want to call that 258
Out.